Hello and welcome! It is Team Modern Super League time once again. I'm Randy Bueller. I'm joined by Saffron Olive. Welcome to the playoffs, Seth.
We made it. What's up, Randy?
Not too much. How you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm excited. It's gonna be a fun night. We got some fun decks. We made the playoffs, and anything can happen. You just got to get there. That's the thing with the playoffs. Who knows?
I agree. I mean, and a nice mix of decks too, right? We've got some of the cutthroat stuff, but we've also got some spice, particularly from you guys, kind of living up to that Brew Crew name.
We tried.
Is tonight? Is it Hammer Time? Is that what's going on? That deck looks so sweet. Tell me about it.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Hammer Time. It's a deck I've been working on. It actually started off as a deck I made for a budget series that I do.
Okay.
But this is the fully powered version of the deck. So basically, it's a combo deck built around Colossus Hammer, and it's kind of all in. But essentially, you're trying to stick either Core Duelist or Glistener Elf on turn 1, and then get Colossus Hammer on it on turn 2, which basically just kills your opponent, assuming you get in a hit with it, either 22 power of normal damage or 11 infect. So to do this, you need like Magnetic Theft, which can just equip something to a creature for 1 mana, or Sigarda's Aid, which automatically equips an equipment when it comes into play. So it's kind of like this 3-ish piece combo deck, maybe 2.5 pieces, because we got a bunch of creatures we can put stuff on. But yeah, when things go well, the deck just kills people on turn 2.
Right. I mean, and so 3-piece, but there's 2 different things which will play the role of the 1-mana creature, right? It doesn't matter whether it's a double striker or an infector. Giving either one of those +10/+10 pretty much wins you the game with your turn 2 attack.
Yeah, that's the nice part about this combo deck is even though it's kind of 3 pieces, there's 2 different 1-drops that can work in the creature role. And then even though there's one Colossus Hammer, we have Steel Shaper's Gift, which is
so you have 8
tutor for Colossus Hammer. And then we have like 7 ways to equip for free. So there's a lot of redundancy, kind of sneakily in the deck.
Right, there's 8 copies of Colossus Hammer effectively because of the Steel Shaper's Gifts. What Sigarda's Aid and what's the other way to equip for free?
Magnetic Thief, an old Mirrodin.
I do not remember that card whatsoever. Wow, I was the lead developer for that set. I completely forgot that card existed.
Yeah, just 1 mana putting equipment on something at instant speed. Pretty efficient at what it does. So
hilarious.
Yeah, so I mean, the deck, it's really powerful. Obviously, it's one of these decks where, in some sense, you're crossing your fingers for no like Path to Exile or Fatal Push, but we're playing Modern, and everyone's goldfishing and trying to kill each other. No one's really playing, or not many people are playing those interactive spells right now. So I think the format's in a place where you can kind of like sneak in and be like, oh, sure, Hogak, play your Blood Gas and all these creatures that can't block, and then I just smash you for 20 on turn 2.
And there's no Chalice deck that's going to ruin all of our fun this week, right? It's not going to be like the last time?
Yeah, I'm more worried of just like mulliganing into Oblivion, but really the London Mulligan rule helps, and it's because of the London Mulligan rule, and because really you can afford to go down to 5 cards, even 4 cards, because you're just looking for these specific combo pieces, and you only need 1 or 2 lands to win. It comes together a lot more consistently than you might think, thanks to London Mulligans. Nice.
All right, I was already looking forward to this, but it sounds even better. Like this deck could be legitimately real, right? How long? When did you actually unveil this deck?
So the budget video I did actually just went up yesterday. So I've been working on it like the last week behind the scenes. So it's kind of very fresh and new at this point. But I mean, anytime you have a fairly consistent turn 2 kill, that's something that's worth like investigating and brewing around. So we'll see where it ends up. And I think it's in a decent spot in the metagame right now. Like I said, just because if everyone was playing like Blue-White Control and Jund and Fatal Pushes, then like things would be a little rough. But with so many Goldfish decks right now, it might be the time for Colossus Hammer.
Unbelievable. So that is going to be spectacular to watch. That is round 4. You're playing this. You're going to be up against Hogak first. And then what? It comes up.
Roll.
Okay. Fair. They don't do much blocking, though. We only get to see it the one time, though? You're only playing once tonight?
Yeah, I got the one match tonight, so round 4 is the one to look out for. But thankfully, we got some other sweet decks, too. The Rakdos Skelemental deck is new-ish, and it's pretty sweet. Corbin's playing this crazy, unexpected
I can't really give you guys credit for... I can't really give you guys credit for brewing the Rakdos Skelementals, though. That was Caleb, right? That's your opponent's deck that you're wielding against him this week.
Yeah, Caleb, I think, has a lot to do with the development of that deck. I'm not
Okay.
sure who made it first. I think it 5-0 to League at one point, so I don't know
Okay.
exactly the origins of it a couple weeks ago,
I
but
know
yeah, he's had a lot to do with it.
he was the first guy I saw playing it and had played it. He was the first one to play it on Super League as well. There is this interesting twist there though, where you guys have, what is it? There's the ball lightning aspect versus the sorry, what's the Hellspark Elemental? That's the one April's playing. Sorry, I'm mixing my teams up. It's April that's throwing it against you guys. Your team
Yeah.
totally deserves credit for this deck, but
Yeah.
your opponents have stolen it
Our builds
unceremoniously. April is running it for the second time in a couple of matches.
our builds are a little bit different, but they're basically trying to do the same thing: smash people over and over again with lightning skelementals. So we do have the ball lightnings, which they're interesting. They can be very powerful. They're definitely not as good as skelemental because you don't get the
Yeah,
discard, but it's still a lot of damage if you're hitting with one of those every turn. It closes out the game pretty quickly.
right. But the innovation that we saw, like if you've only been watching Modern through the eyes of Super League, which I mean, we're of course the main place Modern's being showcased nowadays, right? Thunderkin Awakener was the revelation. The first version
Yeah.
of the deck that Caleb showed up with did not have the Awakener, but then the Awakener moved into the deck, and you're like, okay, well, how many elementals do I have that I can bring back with Thunderkin Awakener? It's like just the Skelementals is maybe not good enough. So Caleb's all in on all 4 copies of Ball Lightning, OG Ball Lightning, in addition to the Skelemental himself. Whereas
Yep.
Hellspark Elemental is maybe the other one that I know April's got, I think, 1 copy of.
Yeah, I think it's just a one of. So more on the Thunderkin plan, I think Caleb's build of the deck is, and
Yeah.
it's very explosive. When you can hit someone on turn 2 with a Skelemental or Ball Lightning,
Yeah.
it goes a long way towards closing out the game.
Meanwhile, tell me about Corbin's deck. That's what we're going to be seeing in the first round tonight. Unexpected Emrakul up against a, fairly pedestrian Is It Phoenix deck in the hands of Jessica Estefan. What on earth is with this build?
So we can't take credit for this one fully, although we have been messing around a little bit with unexpected results. But this, Corbin was at the Mythic Championship this weekend, and this was one of the decks that someone brought, one of the under the radar decks. So this
Mm-hmm.
is essentially like a Scape Shift deck, kind of a Titan Shift style deck where you can win with getting Valakut, ramping, putting a bunch of mountains into play, maybe like through the breaching, Primeval Titan. So you can do the typical Valakut plan. But what makes this deck unique is there's 4 copies of Unexpected Results, which is literally just 4 mana, shuffle your library, flip the top card of your deck, and put it into play, essentially, if it's a permanent. So there's that along with 4 Emeralds. So if things go well and the magic gods smile upon us, we can just have like a turn 3 Emrakul. And it's actually casting the card, so you get the extra turn, you get the
Oh,
whole
sick.
Emrakul. Yeah, you get the whole Emrakul deal. So a little bit high variance, but it's really sweet. And you just kind of cross your fingers and hope that your luck is good. Worst case, it puts a land on the battlefield, which works with Scape Shift. Hitting Primeval Titan isn't the end of the world. So even if you whiff, you can kind of like semi hit if you hit the right cards. So it's never like horrible, but really what you're trying to do is get lucky and hit the Emrakul and just win the game on turn 3.
Crazy. I guess the real whiffs are what? Tribelder and Wood Elves.
Yeah, those aren't too good. Hitting random, like Search for Tomorrows and Farseeks, I guess they're like, I don't know. I guess hitting a ramp spell, if you think of it, like worst case, it's a 4 mana rampant growth, essentially, where you're getting a land on the battlefield. So I guess it's not a complete whiff, but really, you don't want to pay 4 mana to get an extra land on the battlefield. So they're
Right, but
whiffs, but it
you
still
get
does something.
you do get the unexpected results back when you hit a land, right?
If you hit an actual land, yeah. So if you hit a Farseek or like a Secure Tribelder, then it kind of fizzles. But if you just hit
Yeah.
one of the 28 lands, comes back to your hand, you can spin it again next turn and hope for some better luck.
And this deck only has 1 copy of Scape Shift with no way to tutor for it unless we're counting unexpected results.
Yeah, this really isn't. I mean, Scape Shift is there. You can kind of just happen to draw it, but it's really more of a Primeval Titan Emrakul deck where the Through the Breach unexpected results plan is kind of the core of the deck. And then
Yeah.
Scape Shift is the backup where once in a while you draw it and just kill someone.
The backup plan, the 1 Miser Scape Shift. This looks fun. This certainly looks fun. I mean, I can't imagine how the Phoenix matchup in particular goes with a deck like this, right?
I know that if you get a turn 3 Emrakul, you beat pretty much anyone. So so that's what we're hoping for. But yeah, beyond that, I'm not 100% sure.
Makes sense. So a fun night. That's your story of people trying to kill each other on turn 2. Maybe goldfishing,
I think,
but
I
at
mean,
least spicy goldfish.
yeah, there's gold fishing going on, but it's not all Hogax. There are a few Hogax floating around, but yeah, there's some spice going on. Trying to kill people quickly, but doing it in unique ways, I think.
Sounds right to me. All right, so just to make sure everybody knows what's going on, this is the first round of the playoffs for the Team Modern Super League. Both teams tonight went 1-1 in their first 2 matches. The winner goes into the top 4. The loser is out. We have 2 undefeated teams waiting in the top 4, but neither one of them could make it 2 weeks from tonight, so they're actually going to be playing each other. And tonight's winner is going to play the winner of next week's other quarterfinal. Channel Fireball and Mage Market are the other 2 1-1 teams. So I don't know. Is that an easier path through? Brothers Who Bash and Pomplamoose are going to have to smash into each other on the 20th for one spot in the final. And you know what? Could be a team from tonight that claims the other one.
Yeah.
There you see the schedule all the way through. The finals is, of course, the next week, August 27th. One other piece of business while we're here, I do want to thank CardSphere for jumping on board as a sponsor of the Team Modern Super League. CardSphere.com has got a sweet website set up there to facilitate trading of Magic cards. I know that they sponsored a team in the Vintage Super League last year, so they're certainly happy to have those guys back on board again this year. And I mean, while we're talking about sponsors, Cool Stuff Inc. has been great to us for many, many seasons now, and they even have a promo code set up. I think it's MH5 will get you. It's on the ad in between matches. You can see the discount code, which is good for any singles you want to buy from them. But enough with the business. We have some Magic to play. You guys like your chances tonight? Have you really thought about the slate that you're up against, or how it matches up? Or you're just like, we brewed some stuff, we'll show up and play and see what happens?
So I'm not unhappy with our matchups, I would say, but really
Okay.
we're playing a lot of unique decks, and I'm not 100% confident in the matchups. When I look at the matchups, there's not too many that jump out where like, okay, I don't think we really have a chance to win this. But I think I'm as much in the dark as anyone else at what's going to happen, honestly, because it's just a lot of matchups I haven't seen before. Unexpected Emrakul versus Phoenix, like who knows?
Who knows?
Skelementals versus Burn. I guess Caleb said that he beats Burn with the Ball Lightning deck, but I don't know. I've never played it, so it's going to be exciting and interesting, I think. So maybe I'm hoping for a lot of good close matchups, some good moments on camera. So it should be good.
Nice. All right. We are getting ready for that first match. It is going to be Corbin against Jess. It's going to be Unexpected Emrakul against Blue Red Phoenix once we get that queued up. One note of warning, we do have MTG Nerd Girl is actually playing from Europe. I think she's in Italy post Pro Tour and is not going to be able to join us for any commentary. So you're going to see a little more of me tonight. And then you guys have a commentator as well. Vince, Pleasant Kenobi, does not wish to share what is apparently a fairly massive chest cold with the outside world. So I'll be tagging in for him as well. All right. Players are ready. Let's go watch some Magic. Jess on the top with her Blue-Red Phoenix deck. Corbin has, I don't know how to judge these hands. He's got a couple of ramp spells and an Emrakul. I don't think he can ramp all the way to the Emrakul. But does that mean you can keep that, or you just have to trust?
He has 28 lands, so it's not impossible he could hardcast Emrakul, but it seems pretty unlikely. I don't know. I don't really like Corbin's hand. I guess Flame Slash answers Thing in the Ice, which is something, but the Emrakul's kind of a mulligan already, so
right. That's
I would be
functionally
on
a
the
6-card
fence,
hand.
maybe just taking a mulligan, but it looks like both players are going to keep here.
Yeah, he is going to run it.
I mean, I guess from Corbin's perspective, he does have ramp on turn 2 and turn 3. So if he top decks Unexpected Results, Primeval Titan, there's a lot of good draws with this hand.
And he's got basically 3 draw steps, right? Turn 2, turn 3, turn 4.
Yeah, so he's hoping to hit some action. On the other side, it seems like there's going to be at least one Phoenix probably coming back on turn 2. Most likely. We'll see exactly what comes off the top of the deck, but usually with 2 Manamorphoses, it should be coming back. So
I mean, there's technically no target for Flame Slash right now and no third spell, but
But there's three
Worst case, it's turn 3
draws.
when you flash back the Faithless Looting.
Yeah. And
I don't
maybe
know. Do you
that's better
just
anyway to hit more Phoenixes. Like Corbin's deck isn't going to put that much pressure on the battlefield until turn 3 or turn 4. So maybe Jessica can just afford to wait a turn and try to hit some more Phoenixes off Faithless Looting.
Yeah, I don't think I would risk Manamorphose, trusting the 2 draw steps to come up with spell 3. Feels like it's such a catastrophe if you whiff on those cantrips that you wait.
Yeah, that is a good point. Maybe if there's a spell off the top of the deck that could change, but I think
Oh,
you're
right. If she's got the 3 spells, then things are different. But
So
all
here goes
right.
some ramping for Corbin.
Cinderglade was not the turn 2 draw step he was looking for.
He does have 28 lands in the deck, so peeling lands not all that unlikely here, but I mean, he's only needs 10 more lands for Emrakul. We're getting there.
It's
Maybe
not
there's Wood
happening.
Elves.
All right, Lightning Bolt is certainly
Ooh.
a castable spell. I think she's going to go ahead and get that Phoenix into play.
Yep. Metamorphose 1 into a land. Okay. Number 2. I mean, honestly, from playing against a Phoenix deck, when it's just one Phoenix, in some ways you feel like you dodged a bullet when it's only one coming back on turn 2 or turn 3.
Sure. Yeah, it's just a Lightning Bolt and a Phoenix here.
So Corbin's going to be down to 13, but he can just Flame Slash if he wants to. And the Flame Slash in Jessica's hand doesn't do much. Like I don't know if there's any targets that it's really good against in Corbin's deck. Yeah, I mean, yes, you can take down a Wood Elf.
Look, it is a target that can get the spell onto the stack.
That's true, but no exciting targets, I guess.
That's fair.
So I guess Corbin just ramps. The real question is, do you think he Flame Slashes his Phoenix, or does he hold on to it for a potential Thing in the Ice, which is a bigger threat as the game goes along? It's not as immediate of a threat, but
yeah, I don't know. I mean, we can see the hands, and she can't bring back the Phoenix particularly easily, so Flame Slash looks pretty good. In a vacuum, it's still probably pretty good, right? Even it's going to take a little while for Thing to go off. He just needs to buy time, get an attack for 3. He's dead in 3-4 turns.
And now Corbin's to the point where if he can draw something like a Primeval Titan, the tide can turn really quickly in favor of the Unexpected Emrakul deck.
Yeah, that's a great point. His turn 4, he's going to untap with the ability to be on 6. So the Primeval Titans definitely count as awesome top decks.
There's also the 3 Through the Breaches, which are pretty much a game-ending top deck, I think, if that comes off the top. So there is some benefit to having this Emrakul in hand.
That's a fair point. All right, just goes Thing of the Ice into looting. Does not find any more Phoenixes. Does not have 3 spells, but Corbin's still drawing lands.
The second Faithless Looting is a pretty good draw. And
I'm sure deep sigh of relief from Jess, I'm sure, as 6 mana does not bring Primeval Titan down.
Yeah, Corbin, he's got good draws, but he's getting a little low on time here.
Yeah.
This Thing in the Ice can just flip right now if Jessica wants to Flame Slash and opt. And that's a 2-turn clock.
It brings the
and
Phoenix
that also
out too,
gets
right?
a Phoenix. It doesn't really increase the clock, but yeah, it is another threat. So I think Corbin, he might be on Through the Breach or bust now, or Unexpected Results with some luck or bust.
Escape Shift would probably get the job done on 7 lands. I think it's funny. She just had to tap that land to get blue mana.
Down to 18
now. Escape Shift is a lethal top deck.
Oh, the one of Miserly Escape Shift. Yeah, that would be a great.
She needed the blue mana. I mean, she's been Scalding Tarn for basics, I think, is how she got those mountains, right? I forget how I forget how she sequenced her mana, but it would make sense if she was trying to avoid going below 18.
So there's a Thing in the Ice.
Yeah.
Wood Elves back in hand. And I think it looks like that's it. So here, there's going to be an Arclight Phoenix. Corbin's going to drop to 3, and basically it needs the top deck.
Scape Shift or Through the Breach. Primeval Titan does not look good enough. No, he just dies to the
I don't think
Arclight
so.
Thief.
Yeah, because he doesn't have enough mountains at this point to really get to Valakut or anything with the Titan, so. And it's a
What's on
mountain.
top of the deck? Did he draw land every draw step that game?
I think he did.
I think he drew land every draw step.
Yeah,
Crazy.
that's not ideal.
Oh, chat just pointed out that Jessica got up to 7 permanents, so even the one shot with the Emrakul wasn't going to get the job done.
Oh, yeah, that is a good point. So sideboard-wise, looks like we have Blood Moons and Force of Negations coming in on Jess's side. Corbin, I assume you want the Surgical Extractions.
I assume. Those sound pretty good.
Otherwise, I'm not sure what Corbin's going to do, actually.
He doesn't really have stuff to cut anyway, right?
No, not a whole lot. I mean, I think you can maybe trim ramp a little bit, but there's not a ton to really take out.
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure Corbin's going to bring in the Surgical. Oh, not the Unexpected. Corbin, you can't play Unexpected Emrakul and cut your unexpected results. You got to go down trying to randomly flip an Emrakul off the top of your deck. We do see the Surgicals, though.
2 of the 3, it looks like?
Looks like 2. Along with a couple of Veil of Summers, which I guess is to fight counter spells? Like to fight the Force of Negations that are coming in?
Well, they're just draw cards. Like, drawing a card every time she casts a blue spell sounds pretty good.
Yeah, cantripping is definitely not a bad thing. So let's see, we have Corbin on the play here for game number 2. Let's see if he has a little more action this hand.
All right. Careful observers will note that we've moved around where we're keeping track of the game score and where we're keeping track of the overall match score. Jess leads 1 game to 0. That is what's next to her name. And the stars in the top left and bottom left are where we're going to track the 4 matches that it takes to win the overall series.
So it looks like Corbin has the 1 Scape Shift, and he can get to 7 lands pretty quickly with double Farseek.
Yeah,
Jess
turn
had to
4.
mulligan 1 basic land as a mountain, just couldn't cast anything. And now this hand, I mean, you got Faithless Looting. It's
You
not
have to
good.
trust, right? You sign up to play this deck, you have to keep that at 6.
I mean, I think you got to, keep it, but it's a little scary.
Agreed. I mean, it's better than 5. Like, put one of the lands on the bottom and
Yeah.
maybe you
Trust in your
slow your
lootings.
Faithless Looting. Right, maybe you want to cast it turn 2 off of Manamorphose, turn 3 off of Manamorphose.
Ooh, Finale of Promise.
Interesting. That changes things.
So we see the looting turn 1. And there's a Phoenix. Well, that's a hit, although this hand might have a little bit of a hard time getting it back.
Doesn't the Finale get it back almost by itself? Like Manamorphose into Finale into
I guess
Manamorphose looting?
4 mana? Yeah, I guess. No, I guess that's true. I guess you can just get the Faithless looting back. Yeah, good point. Corbin, he's going to be up to. This is actually a pretty good draw for Corbin. So now he has ramp here. Next turn, he can play both Farseeks, which should put him up to 7 mana on turn 4 to potential.
Oh, yes.
To potentially win with Valakut and Scape Shift, but that's a Blood Moon, and
her
Blood
turn
Moon
3 is going to come before his turn 4. That's your theory?
I think so. I think that the math checks out on that one.
No blue card to go with the Force of Negation, but Blood Moon can solve a lot of problems, huh?
Yeah, Blood Moon, very good sideboard card here. Although a little bit awkward, I guess, for Jess with only 1 island. It is going to pinch her mana a little bit as well, but definitely worth it. I think after Corbin fires off, wow.
He didn't sack the Tri-Builder.
I guess
that's got to be wrong.
It seems wrong. Maybe he's thinking Jess is at 20 still, so Scape Shift on 7 doesn't actually win the game anyway, so he wants to chip in for a couple points of damage, although I think
Interesting.
I definitely would have sacked in, just double Farseeked and tried to get to Scape Shift. Assume that eventually Jess is going to take a damage somewhere off of a fetch land or something. So does Jess just run out this Blood Moon?
Yes.
Or does she try to, I mean, you can Faithless Looting, you can get back ooh, and a
Oh,
great.
Arya.
Oh, Jess, her hand went from Faithless Looting and a bunch of lands basically to a lot of action. That's a power of Faithless Looting.
That is kind of what Faithless Looting does.
So redraw first, see what's on the top.
Oh, how about another Phoenix?
Phoenix number 2.
How do you feel about finale for Faithless Looting now?
Looking a little better. Oh man.
Finale into Faithless Looting is 2 Phoenixes now, but it does mean no Blood Moon. So
Yeah, I wonder if Corbin's gonna regret not going on the ramp plan, because it looks like the Blood Moon might not come down this turn, which
right,
means Scape Shift potentially could have done its thing.
he could
I
have
mean,
he could have done turn 4 Scape Shift, and he's not. I don't think he's going to get the chance for turn 5. She's kind of debating, right? She could go Blood Moon anyway, but yeah, this finale just looks like way too much value.
I think with one Phoenix, you probably just run out the Blood Moon, but
All
it's
right,
really hard to pass on 2 Phoenixes.
agreed.
And I guess this also opens up hitting a blue card for the Force Negation, although it looks like it
Good
is
point.
not going to happen.
Yeah, that's a good point. It is true though that his turn 4 Scape Shift could only have dealt 18.
Unless he draws another ramp spell here, he would have the mana to cast. Like, it would have opened up the possibility of getting to 8 lands, I think, if he drew another Farseek or Secure Tribe Elder.
Fair. That's fair.
But yeah, I don't know. Those are tough decisions, and we get to see the hands, so. This is a clock, though. Like, those Phoenixes, Corbin's at 18 going to 12. That's 3
Now he
turns.
still
So
can cast this Farseek into Scape Shift, right? It's a 7. It's only a 7 land Scape Shift, but he can attack with Tribe Elder. Then he could Farseek, and then he will he not? No, he won't. Then he'll still have the 4, right? He'll have 3 tap lands and 4
I
untapped.
I guess, yeah, I think
I
that
think
works.
Corbin's
And
sequencing worked fine. He didn't give
I
himself the chance at an 8 landscape shift, but he gave himself 2 damage where he doesn't need an 8 landscape shift. 7's good enough.
it
Yeah.
actually worked out very perfectly. There were nothing
Wait.
blocked the Sakura Tribe Elder. This works, right? So Sakura
No,
Tribe
it doesn't.
Elder.
He doesn't have enough untapped land. Tribe Elder's land is tapped,
Uh,
right?
yeah, you're right. He's
It,
one
it would
land
have
short.
worked. It would have still worked if he'd sacked the Tribe Elder last turn, but again, it would have been an 18. So no.
I guess the other thing is he could have Scape Shift, gotten the Valakut some mountains, potentially killed the Phoenixes, and then still had like Valakuts and land drops for the following turn. I guess we know about the Blood Moon, and I think maybe
Yeah.
that's biasing my my
Oh,
thoughts
and
on
there's
this.
there's the blue card for Force of Negation too. So now Jess can
Yeah.
go Blood Moon with Force backup, and I think we're done.
So now I think, yeah, if the Blood Moon comes down, it becomes very difficult. I was gonna say Primeval Titan would be a good draw, but if there's a Blood Moon, that doesn't even really do it.
Yeah,
And
I think either the Blood Moon or the Force of Negation would beat Corbin's draw the way he sequenced it. And she's got both. And he still doesn't sack Tribe Elder.
There's a Primeval Titan, but that Blood Moon, that would have been a perfect draw.
Yeah, I mean, he can cast it, but he just dies to the 2 Phoenixes. So Jessica Estefan strikes first. It is the Stream Team up 1-0 in the battle of the rhyming nicknames.
Yeah, that was a tough one. Corbin drew a lot of lands, and the
He did.
Izzet Phoenix deck it's really strong. Faithless Looting is a good card, and the deck is very good. So a
And
little
it's a deck.
disappointed we didn't at least see like a coin flip with unexpected results. So that's what I was rooting for. Even if he whiffed, just to see it on the stack, it's such a cool card. But
Right. Well, we get to run it back, right? Isn't that what Corbin's playing in his other match tonight?
I would have to double check. I almost think he went with the elemental deck, the skelemental deck for his second choice.
You're right. You're right. That was our one shot at Unexpected Emrakul. Fair enough. Didn't look super exciting. I mean, I know it got played at the Pro Tour. It went like 2-3 at the Pro Tour. There's definitely a cool deck there, but I don't think it's certainly not the most consistent deck in the format.
No, a little bit inconsistent, and it's definitely fun and spicy, but I don't know about trying to win a Pro Tour with it. Ambitious.
Yeah. All right. Next up, those Rakdos Skelementals we keep talking about. Caleb will be up with his take on a brew that we've been seeing a lot of in Team Modern Super League. I don't think it showed up at the Pro Tour very much, but the Mythic Championship.
No, I don't think so. I think one player might have played it at the Mythic Championship, but we'll see. Burn, to me, seems like a challenging matchup, but I talked to Caleb about it. He said it can beat Burn. I mean, fingers crossed, it's not an easy matchup, but he said it's possible. So
yeah, I mean, look, Burn does not want to discard its cards. It kind of needs all of them. Like, you got it 7 times 3. You need the 7, right?
That's basically what Caleb said, is if they, as long as you have a Skelemental, if they have to burn your Skelemental and not get hit, then you're kind of winning anyway. And if they take a hit from Skelemental, then you're definitely winning. So Skelemental, I think, is going to be the key card in this matchup.
Makes sense to me. Don't go anywhere. We will be right back after a quick break with the Skelementals of Caleb versus MTG Nerd Girls Burn deck.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Team Modern Super League, where, sadly, the Brew Crew went down very quickly there. I'm Corbin Hostler. I'm with Jess Estefan, who just crushed me with Phoenix. So, Jess, how's it going?
Good, Corbin. Good. How are you?
Well, I mean, this is why I enjoyed Phoenix versus Scapeshift. If I was going to lose, at least it went quickly.
I'm happy to have helped.
Yeah, so it was great. It was fun. So is that the same deck you played at the Mythic Championship?
So it is an almost identical list. I switched out 3 Ravenous Traps for 3 Leylines of the Void.
Oh yeah, well, it was. How was the? Are you home now? What did you get back from? I know we've all been traveling all over the world in the past few days.
Yeah, I got back to Australia last night. It's really cold. I haven't been in winter for a while. It's been an adjustment.
Yeah, I guess that is how that works, huh? It's that's something I never think about, but it turns out on the other half of the world, it's cold right now.
Yeah, it's a completely different season right now.
Yeah, it was a welcome change from Barcelona. I imagine it was very warm.
Yeah, it was very warm in Barcelona, but it was a lot of fun. It was really good seeing you there, by the way.
It was, yeah. I mean, we didn't get a chance to really chat too much. These things are always crazy for me. But how'd the event go for you? Was it?
I did really poorly in the Mythic Championship, and I ended up playing the Grand Prix. I 7-2 Dade 1, and then I ended up 10-5 overall, playing Phoenix, the MC list.
So you looked at a field and said of Hogak and said, "I'm not going to join the crowd."
So I decided not to play Hogak for some interesting reasons. I didn't have a chance to make it back to Australia before the trip, and it meant that I only had like half of my collection with me. So I had 3/4 of a Hogak deck, and I had an insane win rate with Phoenix. Unfortunately, not enough of a win rate to salvage an 0-3 draft. So that's where we started for the day.
Yeah, that's rough. That's the thing about the Mythic Championship. People don't always think about or realize, but I mean, you play 16 rounds and you cut to a top 8, but 6 of those rounds, more than a third, are draft. So it's not just Modern that matters, even though it's a Modern Pro Tour, or I'm sorry, Modern Mythic Championship, or in the past Modern Pro Tours. But it doesn't matter because draft is such a big part of it.
Yeah, I mean, there's no point. I know a friend that went 10-0 in constructed once, but 0-6 his drafts.
Oh, that's rough.
That's not. I don't think that's good enough for a requalification even. Back in those days. So yeah, you got to draft as well as you play Modern, and hopefully next time I'm a bit more balanced in my range.
Yeah, I think that's something that a lot of people, a lot of the pros I've covered over the years as part of, doing the coverage. I think I've been at 5 years of Mythic Championships now. People get there on the strength of one format. And for a lot of people, that'll be, standard or modern or whatever. And then they get there and they go, oh yeah, I actually have to learn to draft too. And it's a lot harder than it is at home.
Yeah. So I tried to prepare more for the draft portion just because I knew it was my weaker format. And it didn't turn out so well, but I'm completely okay with it. Modern, yeah, go on.
Well, that was the best part of draft that I saw was I walked by and I saw somebody mill somebody out with Hogak and Altar of Dementia, and I was like, oh, I know, I recognize. Wait, what round is it?
Yeah,
somebody put it together in draft. That was the. In fact, I believe it was Emma Handy. That was the strategy that her and her team put together was a whole bunch of crazy 4 or 5 color nonsense. They worked with Sam Black, I think. They turned out some pretty cool draft decks out of Modern Horizons.
Yeah, I saw some of the ones that Autumn ended up posting, and they did look really, really cool. Yeah. I mean, it's not something you see every day. It's basically half a constructed deck happening.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. So back to Modern, though. Next up, we have Caleb Durward taking on MTG Nerd Girl Rakdos Skelementals versus Burn. So the Skelementals deck is one we've been talking about within our team for a little bit. It's sort of a mix, between this discard deck, but also kind of this tribal elementals deck. It's got a lot of neat little synergies.
Yeah, April is actually playing it, I believe, the round after. So
yeah,
we brought it too. It's a pretty good deck.
Yeah, it's definitely
like
fun.
To play, so.
Yeah, I mean, who doesn't like, elementals and skelementals and ball lightnings and all of that? Although I don't know that any of us, definitely. We've got the skelementals, the ball lightnings coming out as well. I think any modern format in which ball lightning is a playable card is just automatically going to be a better one.
I wasn't really aware of a previous modern format where the ball lightning archetype had existed, and I'm glad we're able to bring it to fruition now.
Well, I just want to say Groundbreaker does exist. I have played against it before.
Okay. I'm willing to believe you here and just trust that the Brew crew knows what they're talking about.
Yeah, Groundbreaker is the for those who don't know, it's the triple green ball lightning. It was a planar, I think it was planar chaos. It was a color shifted card. So I certainly not a good or particularly playable deck in the past, but definitely a fun one. So it's pretty cool that now we can find the days to bring it back. So all right, I think we're ready to jump on into this. The Burn versus Skelementals, not really sure. We've talked about it a little bit. Collective Brutalities, I think, are going to play a big role here. But sometimes Burn just gets you. So Caleb there on the bottom, MTG Nerd Girl up there on the top, and we'll get this thing going. What are you expecting to see here from the matchup, Jess? What's going to be most important?
I think that I know that the pre-show hosts definitely mentioned that the Skelemental deck will be looking to tax the Burn deck, and while Burn doesn't need too many resources, as Randy said, it really needs the 7 that it starts with. So
yeah.
If you were to say, Jess, who do you think will win? I have to root for my teammate, but I think that Caleb is favored here, especially with a startup like this. He has a Painless Swamp coming into play turn 1. And an Inquisition of Kozilek to follow up. He can cast an Arcanist off the Cavern, again, not dealing damage to himself, and can kind of just start curving out from there. Now, I believe we will not be able to see MTG Nerd Girl's hand in this game.
Okay.
Due to some logistical issues. So we're going to be playing a guessing game of how much damage can be dealt. Hopefully this Inquisition helps us out a little.
Yeah, this is great. Well, that's the thing. I think she said she's still traveling back from the event. So everybody, all of us here are just all over the world over the past few days. Jet lag, time zones, who needs them?
With my original flights back to Sydney, I was originally going to be streaming this from an airport. So
oh, man.
I wasn't making it back in time. So I'm glad to be back. The Inquisition takes a Goblin Guide, and Goblin Guide is usually Burn's best turn when play. We didn't really get to see Brittany's hand, and that's okay. We're gonna play a guessing game.
Wow. All right. Well, okay, gets on in there. Let's see. Land off the top for Caleb. So Goblin Guide doing work already. Oh, look at that though. Draws the 1 of Brutality.
That's really good. That's an insane draw. I am surprised that Caleb chose to shock on turn 1, as opposed to, again, just going for that basic swamp.
Yeah, that's true. Especially with the 3 lands in hand.
I mean, for sure, I definitely play a little more conservatively than most people against Burn, but really interested to see what he does here. I could probably see the kind of depending on Brittany's hand, because the Arcanist can flashback an Inquisition next turn, which is going to be really valuable. It also has the potential to block Goblin Guide, though. I'm not really big on that.
Oh, there we go. We've actually got access to the hand now there in the revealed window. So
perfect. Okay.
All right. Wow, look at that. Okay.
Had twice.
Yeah. Caleb pitched the Arcanist there to the Brutality. So takes down the Goblin Guide, gets back that 2 life, and as well throwing away the land that the Goblin Guide gave him, is able to duress MTG Nerd Girl's hand as well. So that's why Brutality does so much work in this matchup. It undoes the work from the Goblin Guide. You get to turn your extra cards into life and or taking cards away from them, which equals life. And now 3 lands and probably a Skelemental to follow up. Possibly
the Skelemental is going to be doing some damage to Brittany's hand. We're kind of having to figure it out because Caleb doesn't look like he's a big fan of crossing them off as the card. And that's totally okay. I love seeing 2 copies of something and playing some mathematical games. It looks like there's a Sacred Foundry, a Monastery Swift Spear, possibly a 3rd Goblin Guide, but I'm not too sure on that one. And the Bloodstained
it is possible.
Also looks like a Boros Charm has been taken by the Collective Brutality. So with 4 cards in hand, it's probably Sacred Foundry, Monastery Swift Spear, Goblin Guide, and what she's just drawn for turn. What do you think Caleb's going to be doing here?
Well, it looks like he's thinking about it, and we've gone to combat, it looks like. So he's probably opting for this post-combat Pyromancer. Actually just going to pass the turn back with this in hand. So I guess he really wants to get value out of that Skelemental, doesn't want to let MTG Nerd Girl just throw away meaningless cards. So just going to bolt the Goblin Guide, I guess, here, and then follow up, try to sort of play like you're playing limited and try to get their last 2 cards with Mind Rod or something here, so to speak, with the Skelemental. But what he's doing well here, and what he absolutely is happy about, is it's turn 3. He's about to untap for his 4th turn here at 17 life, which is about as safe as it gets against the burn deck.
Yeah, he's going to be taking 2 of her cards, and then next turn gets to follow up with the Flamekin, which is going to effectively flashback that
Right.
the Skelemental. The Searing Blaze does work.
That was definitely the
happy.
best answer. Yeah, that was the best answer there, because this is, when Seth and I were talking to Caleb about it beforehand, he said, well, if they burn your Skelemental to protect their hand, then they're not burning you, which is what you want to see. And now Caleb with another great draw off the top, though. That Fatal Push means he can be completely mana efficient this turn, play out the Thunderkin Awakener, push the Swift Spear on the next turn, and yeah, MTG Nerd Girl didn't have to discard to the Skelemental, but is down to not very much gas here.
No, so Caleb's on 13 and she is down to 1 card in hand. We know the Swift Spear is definitely going to be answered this turn, both in the name of life total and mana efficiency. So effectively, worst case scenario, Caleb's on 7 and he's about to play a Seasoned Pyromancer. He's going to draw 2 cards.
Yeah,
Caleb's in a really good position in this game.
Seasoned Pyromancer is one of the, basically the perfect new cards from Modern Horizons. It sort of reinvigorated older archetypes, Mardu Pyromancers. It's part of what has created this deck. And, it's kind of lagged behind some of the flashier cards, say, your Force of Negations or your Hogaks or so on. But it's a really nice addition to the format, I think.
Yeah, I picked a couple up for the Mythic Championship thinking I would be playing them, and they were definitely an impressive buy. Caleb has drawn a Ball Lightning, so I think I like casting the Ball Lightning here and kind of going for that line and just trying to deal as much damage, mainly because the Ball Lightning is about to get discarded, I believe, but...
Yeah, he does. He goes ahead and cashes it in. I'll say I'm a fan of the Ball Lightning art. At least he's got a good taste there.
I wonder if that was his own selection or if Moto randomly gave that to him from all.
That's a good question. I'm going to choose to believe that it was an intentional decision, at least.
When I built my deck earlier, it put a white bordered Blood Moon. I was like, well, only my basics can be white bordered, and we had to
That's the most important thing, really. All right, so for everything we're talking about how well Caleb is doing, he is now down to 7 life with MTG Nerd Girl having those Searing Blazes. Now there is another Skelemental. She's down to no cards in hand. The Sunbaked Canyon, really, that's another set of lands, the Horizon lands coming out of the set that are great because she's going to be able to cash that in here for another card. I mean, she could draw 2 Lightning Bolts off the top and have Caleb down to 1 essentially after this, and he's got that fetch land in play and just a Dreadbore in hand. So, despite how we talked it up and despite Caleb having pretty much everything he wanted here, this game is not over yet by a long shot.
Not at all. And I mean, she could also draw just a Boros Charm into a Lightning Bolt in the
That's
game right here. Unfortunately, however, should Caleb rip another Ball Lightning, she might possibly be dead. And that's an unfortunate outcome on that I'm not looking forward to. Also, a flashback Seasoned Pyromancer has the potential to happen.
And we'll see if Caleb wants to go that route. I believe. Let's see here. Make sure I read this card correctly. Yeah, that takes 5 mana, so Caleb would have to. Yeah, he would have to shock or would have to fetch down to 5. So, that does create some damage for him. Some problems for him there. But on the other hand, this Elemental token and its 10-turn clock not really getting the deal done.
There's another Sunbaked Canyon in play. I can see why she doesn't want to go for it at sorcery speed, because if she blanks, she's stuck with cards in hand that can be discarded to Skelemental.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah.
Doesn't
Pyromancer happens at. Oh, okay. We've seen better draws, but this means that MTG Nerd Girl is like live to win, and I'm not a biased commentator. I say this every week.
We've got full drama here. If we knew what was in her hand, we'd be like, she's got 2 lands, this thing's over. But for all we know, she's going to untap and win the game right here.
So currently I'm knocking the top of my desk and just hoping that we can close
Well, look, I think this might do it. Tapping. Nope. Okay, so here comes a Swift Spear and plays the land. If that's a lightning bolt, this is over, and it is. Wow, look at that. Despite everything, MTG Nerd Girl are coming back, and you saw, I think there were 2 Sunbait Canyons that got cracked there. This game might have been over otherwise. Of course, Caleb had the ball lightning on top.
Yeah, really interestingly though, if he had kind of gone for a different line on turn 1 and gone for the basic instead of the shock, he would have actually survived the turn.
That's a great point. I think maybe he was well, I mean, I guess we don't know, and I don't specifically recall what he had in his hand. Maybe he was concerned if he didn't find another land having the right colors to play Skelemental. But you're right. This is sometimes you lose a game and you go, oh, if I was just 1 card deeper, or if they didn't top deck the perfect card. But what you're saying is just as relevant. The game could have been played differently on turn 1, and it could have made a difference 8 turns later or whatever. It doesn't always come down to how you play the game on the last turn, but how you play the game on the first turn.
Yeah, I'm going to give Caleb a quick shout out here. I love the fact that he's got cards that we can see and they're not just like teeny tiny motor size. MTG Nerd Girl letting us down. Her cards are too small for us to see right now. But I've got the burn deck in front of me, and I don't really know that she has the most effective sideboard plan here, just because we're looking at things like Searing Bloods, and they're going to be great against the elementals, and they're probably going to pick up a lot of Caleb's creatures. But I think in an ideal world, there'd be some treasure cruises in here, maybe a different world completely, just to generate some sort of card advantage. But I see those Searing Bloods coming in. I don't think much of a change is needed. I think that as long as Caleb doesn't tax her resources too hard, she's definitely live to play a top deck war where she's just cycling through the sun-baked canyons at will.
And it's not like Caleb really has a ton of adjusting he needs to do to his deck as well. He obviously wants a second Collective Brutality in there. But everything else is kind of set up. I mean, that game went according to plan for him. He just wasn't quite able to turn the corner in time. 1/1 elementals, that's the downside to ball lightnings and skelementals, right? They hit hard, but they only hit once.
That's true. Sometimes they hit and they take like 6 points of life, 2 cards out of your hand, and it's pretty good for a 1-turn thing. But
yeah, and of course, going back to that last game, I saw somebody ask, Dreadbore, Caleb got a little punished there. Dreadbore is better than Terminate because it can hit Planeswalkers. However, it is a sorcery. That is the downside there, and came back to bite him. Now, he could have also left a token back last turn to block if he was playing around a haste creature there, but realistically, he just needed to try to get in there. Now, here he has a hand of removal and redundancy, I would say, with these Awakeners and Arcanists. That's a lot of elementals.
Yeah, so I think Caleb's hoping that MTG Nerd Girl plays a turn 1 creature. He gets to bolt it, untap, play an Arcanist, obviously depending on what he draws, and just kind of playing the game from there. It looks like MTG Nerd Girl has kept her 7, so we should most likely be seeing a creature here, depending on how she's decided to sideboard, of course.
Right, yeah. So the only downside is when sometimes you keep the Fatal Push hand and the burn deck has seven Lava Spikes to get you, but obviously their best hands involve creatures on turn 1. So we'll see what it is here. Yeah, there you go. You called it. Swift Sphere.
Yeah. I've said this every week that we've brought burn, but I'm not a burn expert. I just kind of play against it a lot. And it's much easier to beat them when they don't have a turn 1 creature.
That's right. All right, so here we go.
Faithless looting. I'm pretty happy for Caleb seeing this. I'm less happy for us. Next turn is going to be kind of interesting. We can either see depending on what he draws, we could see like a Faithless looting into flashback Faithless looting, especially because Brittany hasn't deployed a creature here. I don't like firing the Collective Brutality. I think you want to try and get some value out of it, especially because you're down a removal spell. But
for sure. Also, and it doesn't look like there's anything happening here, but Faithless Looting, this is not, a deck where Faithless Looting is broken, but it is still pretty absurd. You can definitely discard 2 Skelementals and then unearth them on the next turn. I have been hit by double Skelemental on turn 2.
Yeah, Unearth is like an incredibly powerful card to have in these. It's bringing back, again, 6 power. I get that life is like a resource and stuff, but 6 damage is not irrelevant, especially like especially against a deck that's packing other creatures and burn spells for sure.
Yeah. Unearth is one of my favorite cards that they put into the format. It's it's really powerful, but it's not sort of in your face powerful the way that something like Wrenn and 6 is, right? You play Wrenn and 6, it's just always going to do something good. It's always going to be great. And Unearth is just kind of this card that worst case scenario, you cycle it and that's fine, but because of the cycling, it takes kind of a smaller toll on your deck building, but enables some pretty cool stuff in the format. All right, so there we see the Arcanist eating the Lightning Helix. So MTG Nerd Girl goes up to 22 damage. Now there is that Thunderkin Awakener in play, but Caleb with actually not a ton going on. Pyromancer will hopefully seek to fix that for him.
Yeah, so I think Caleb gets to play a reactive turn 4 in that he has the option to flashback a Faithless Looting, play the Seasoned Pyromancer or the Collective Brutality. He may not want to deploy the Pyromancer if he wants to try and get value out of this Collective Brutality.
Oh, there we go. Right on time, Skelemental.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
That was he would have liked it off the Faithless Looting perhaps, but that was a very nice top deck. No need to be reactive when you could hit him for 6. And with 6 cards in her hand here, if this connects, it's going to be a really swingy turn just in terms of card advantage right here.
Yeah. Kind of an interesting thing I found is that Thunderkin Awakener doesn't exile at the end step. It makes you sacrifice it. So it's kind of just a combo that can continuously be repeated. I think we're gonna have to kill the Thunderkin if that's a thing we can do.
Well, that's going to be the question. She was able to take out the Skelemental in combat there. Important to do it in combat rather than beforehand. That way the Awakener can't get its triggers off. Unearth, though, for Caleb. So he is drawn fairly decent here. Looks like he's going to fire off the Brutality. We'll see if he pitches something to it or if he's just going for the duress here to try to clear the way. He does have access to only 1 black mana this turn with the 2 basic bounds there. So he does have to choose between the Unearth or the Brutality.
Well, the Thunderkin kind of functions as an Unearth by itself if it gets to combat. And this is kind of the game that we're seeing where it was mentioned earlier, where if she's spending all of her resources killing the creature, she's not really going face, he's not really dying.
Right.
In this case, all of her resources are going into kind of keeping her hand intact and staying alive. So we see double Sunbaked Canyon in play. It means in a couple of turns when she's stabilized, she's going to be able to get there. So
that's right. So wow. Okay, so look at this though. Caleb actually unearthing the other Awakener. This is a nice play because now if she does have removal, you can't. Well, unless she has 2 spells, but you can't just use it on the Awakener and not have to worry about it. If you kill both Awakeners, so it's like she might be able to do that. Yeah, and she does. But that's a lot of life Caleb just saved by going for that play. Now, no Skelementals come back this turn, but has her down to 4 cards in hand, I believe, after this draw step. Still has some decent ones in his own hand. So that was a nice kind of tech player there with the Unearth to force her to have the removal.
Now, Brittany does still have 4 cards in hand, as you said, after this draw step. And the double Sunbaked Canyon, what we do know at this point is that she drew the Sunbaked Canyon last turn as she missed a land drop. So she's not looking at lands in hand. We know she doesn't have dead cards. We know that she doesn't have things like Searing Bloods. She might have a Searing Blood, but she doesn't have Searing Blaze.
Blaze. Yeah, that's the 3 damage to a creature and 3 to the face if you've landfalled.
Yeah, and she doesn't have creatures. So her hand looks like it's currently direct damage. She might have just drawn an Eidolon though.
Yep.
Which is gonna be pretty good, but Caleb has the perfect answer for it.
He does. This is you talked about Caleb waiting around the Brutality to try to get some value, and this is basically the perfect one. He doesn't even have to take. Well, he'll take damage from it, but he won't be attacked by it at least before he fires off the Brutality.
He gets to stay at 16, which is super important with how this exact game is playing out. That being said, without having perfect information and kind of just making assumption from MTG Nerd Girl's side, I'm really impressed with how this is being played. It looks like she's doing a fantastic job, and Caleb as well has been playing really well. So
yeah, I mean, this is a lot of people look at Burn and say, oh, you put 7 lightning bolts at someone's face. That's all you do. But especially this is interesting. This is a situation where the Burn player is being forced to play more defensively to an extent to protect her hand, and that's not something you see often. So it's really kind of subverting expectations just a little bit here. It's been a pretty fun matchup to watch. So
yeah.
All right, Caleb, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I like what Caleb's doing with the brutality here, or what he was doing just a second ago. I mean, we get to see this game from Caleb's side, so we literally get to see what he's clicking on when he's clicking on it, and seeing him switch last turn from like the brutality to the unearth, and that was kind of cool to see. I think if I'm firing brutality off here, I'm going to go to 14. I'm not going to go for the drain, but I'm going to kill this Eidolon and look at their hand. This Pyromancer is going to be excellent next turn unless we draw something pretty sick. So yeah, brutality pitching the land.
Yeah, brutality is the card you always want to see against Burn, but it doesn't do the job itself. It will buy you the time to have something that finishes the job, but he's going to need, you're right, to have that Pyromancer to follow up. But he is in the tank here. I mean, what do you think he's thinking about going for the drain, or?
I don't know, but it's not the exact play that I would make. I don't think the 2 life is as relevant as literally taking 3 damage from her hand.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That's the thing people talk about, kind of the same principle as Thoughtseize against Burn. Yeah, Thoughtseize and making yourself lose life is bad, but the card you're taking from them was going to deal you more. So he does opt for the play you mentioned, giving the -2/-2 there to the Eidolon, and I assume duressing her hand as well. And he'll have that Pyromancer as a follow-up on the next turn, and then hope to turn the corner before she's able to kind of finish off her hand and turn those Sunbaked Canyons into more burn spells and do the final 14 points of damage.
Yep. So we're looking at a life total of 14 for Caleb. Depending on what he takes, you could have anywhere between 6 to 7 points of damage left in hand. And again, those lands are going to cycle at some point if she does flood out, or once she runs out of spells to cast. So I think it's a pretty even game at this point until we get some more information about what's in Brittany's hand. The advantage bar is solidly near the middle, but I would lean it slightly in Caleb's favor.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, everything that Brittany is hoping to draw here is going to be the same thing, and she needs to get 3 to 4 of them to finish the game off. Meanwhile, Caleb could do something like hit an unearth and awakener, bring back the skelementals and just turn the corner very, very quickly. That's what his deck is capable of, but he is under pressure to do it because her deck has the redundancy.
Yep. Now Brittany is left with a lightning bolt in hand and an unknown card. Caleb did choose to take the Boros Charm, so the hand was kind of a little similar to how I said it would be.
Right.
And I like Caleb holding the land here. It's going to give him Faithless Looting fodder because he's had something to do every turn, which is great. But when he runs out, he's got something waiting for him.
So she fires off. Okay. So has the Searing Blaze, puts Caleb down to 5 out of cards, but again with the 2 redraws there with the Sunbaked Canyon. So the brutality at this point might actually just be best as a drain you for 2, gain 2. It's going to be hard to hit her hand because she's going to be able to cast pretty much whatever she draws, and like you said earlier, can crack the Sunbaked Canyons at the end of Caleb's turn to play around the discard. So this it could end. I mean, technically she could end the game on this turn, not with that draw though. All right, so she's going to fetch to clear out the deck. May as well slightly improve your odds of drawing a burn spell here. Now going to crack Sunbaked Canyon number 1. Finds a Rift Bolt.
Rift Bolt.
All right, well, Caleb could play land. He has the Pyromancer in his graveyard. That costs 5 to get back. But he's just going to go, I think, for the drain on the brutality here. Yep, up to 7, down to 13, and he's able to follow up with a Skelemental. So
and
both players on low life totals at the end of all of this, right? It's going to be 6 to 7 with the Rift Bolt coming off suspend on MTG Nerd Girl's upkeep.
So she's going to draw to 2 cards between the Sunbaked and the top of her deck with Caleb on 4. So, but we also, Caleb also needs to hit something here. He has exhausted the Faithless Looting from the I almost said the garbage, the graveyard. But there is still a Pyromancer there. It won't kill her, but
It's very slow, and the power of Sunbait Canyon has been the story of this match so far. It got her there in game 1. It might get her there in game 2. Of course, again, Caleb can draw his own sort of haymakers off the top to end the game on his next turn as well.
I'm not seeing white mana, so he's not exactly dead at right this moment, but he might be. Fingers crossed.
Oh, Goblin Guide. Well, now he is dead to anything after this Goblin Guide connects, takes him down to just 2.
Yeah.
And the thing is, he actually, either he's just dead, or, if you're him, you basically assume, I have a turn to get there. And Inquisition being revealed on the top of his deck means he's not really going to have much better to do than get rid of that Pyromancer. So Caleb is crossing his fingers and praying that the top deck gods are on his side right now.
Well, the top deck was the Inquisition of Kozilek, which
saw that
revealed with the Goblin Guide.
Yeah, he needs Brittany's top deck gods to be on his side.
yes, he does. Chad is asking if she is slow rolling.
I hope so.
She's like, all right, before it blocks, I'll. Oh, okay.
All right.
He chose to attack as opposed to chump block.
Well, he's going to exile the Pyromancer and instant speed to chump block here, right? Or
sure.
Well, wow, look at that. Okay.
Another Goblin Guide.
So he'll get his tokens. Both of them have to go on chump block duty. In theory, he's not dead. He can. There's a ball lightning on top, though. That'll do it, actually. Wow. So it's all going to come down to whatever the last card in MTG Nerd Girl's hand is. And of course, you would assume if it was a spell to kill Caleb, she would have cast it already. So this might work out here for Caleb. Brew Crew might be sending it to a game 3.
Yeah, we're getting a game.
Get it.
All right. That was one of the more interesting games that I've ever gotten to see Burn play. And that's not to say that Burn is an uninteresting deck. It's just a lot of the games tend to be straightforward. But this was pretty cool.
That was neat. I mean, we got to see a lot of sort of unintuitive plays, or at least out of the ordinary plays there from Burn as she sought to protect her hand against all of Caleb's discard effects. And we had some exciting top decks that it came down to. Ball Lightning, still good in 2019, I guess.
Yeah. We get to see a little bit more about how Caleb sideboarded, and really interesting. He took out 1 Thoughtseize, but he's left 2 in.
Yeah, I mean, Go ahead.
No, I find it really interesting. Like you said, you're paying 2 to take, approximately 3 damage, an average of 3 damage.
Right.
But yeah, it tends to read more as not necessarily having all of the required resources to bring in. Caleb's drawn the collective brutality, and that's been pretty good thus far.
Well, he's going to need it because his hand deals him a lot of damage right now. And Brittany had that Goblin Guide on turn 1, gets in there, puts Caleb down to 18. So he doesn't have, and he chose to play the Polluted Delta there. So if he wants to Lightning Bolt this Goblin Guide, it's going to cost him 3 life, and he's going to be down to 15 already. Now, the brutality, of course, can make up for it to an extent, but the Fiery Islet as his second land is also going to deal him damage, and that's incredibly relevant in the matchup. So, the point of playing against Burn is you hope they don't have the 7 burn spells that kill you, but every time you have to deal damage to yourself, you're making that 1 less card that they need, and Caleb's hand is at risk of dealing himself quite a bit here.
Yeah, so I think my line of play, just to, again, be as efficient as possible in what Caleb's game plan looks like, probably would have been to cast that Inquisition after I drew that Brutality, just because I'm not forcing the Ball Lightning play there, and it gives me some outs. As you said, if Caleb does want to cast a Lightning Bolt here, it's going to cost him 3. That being said, it gives him some control over the top of his library if he doesn't necessarily want to draw it.
Yeah, now the second Goblin Guide comes down. He might just be forced to... Inquisitions and Brutalities are great, but there's only so much damage you can take from the creatures in Burn before you're just going to lose, because they are eventually going to draw X number of burn spells, and it's really important, at least in my my experience, to minimize how much you take from the creatures. So he is going to shock himself down to 13 here, Lightning Bolt one of these, but that leaves him at just 13 life before he's even played a second land.
Yeah, and I think this is where kind of my over conservativeness is kind of helpful in that I
Yeah.
really don't like taking damage against burn, but I also respect that Caleb probably knows what he's doing a lot more than I do with this deck, and he probably has a plan. It's
Yeah.
possible that, yeah, go on.
Well, he didn't have any great options there, I think, right? Like playing the Islet and taking damage, pinging yourself off of that to bolt a Goblin Guide is, that was the line he could have taken. He could have gone, he had to shock himself, but if the alternative was taking damage from that Goblin Guide, he may have seen it as sort of a, the same or a worthwhile trade. And it is pretty easy to look at Brutality in your hand and say, oh, this will just make up for everything.
Yeah. I don't know. I like the turn 1 Inquisition off of Swamp, and I don't think the Ball Lightning is the game plan that we're going for.
Yeah, and in fact, he pitches it there to the Brutality.
Yeah.
All right, so he is going to clear the board. He's stabilized, if you want to put it that way, here on turn 2, right? He's been able to remove 2 creatures. He's able to knock her down to 3 cards in hand and at 14 life. So as painful as it was for him, he's at least gotten himself to a position here where he can hopefully leverage the cards in his hand to start to try to turn the corner. He's gotten rid of both of the creatures and now is in the avoid the burn game.
Yep. Caleb chose to pitch a Lightning Bolt, which I kind of like. We know that because Brittany left up a Scalding Tarn, she doesn't have a 1-mana creature, which leaves her to like Eidolons exactly. And with that in mind, getting rid of her removal spells not perfectly okay, but like it's a pretty good play there.
That's right. That's a great way to look at it. I hadn't even thought that, but that's why I do audio for the Magic Pro League, and you're in it. All right, so here we go. Dreadhorde Arcanist, along with the Inquisition, protecting it by getting rid of that Searing Blaze there, but has the Lightning Bolt anyways. So
someone in chat has pointed out that it would be really cool if Caleb pop out what he's seen of her hand, and I agree, Caleb. It would be really cool if you pop out what you've seen of her hand. But I love playing the guessing game. So we do see an Eidolon here, 1 to 2, but I'm guessing 1, and we're getting a double up of the hand again. So it looks like we're looking at maybe Eidolon Rift Bolt in hand, and a Goblin Guide for a turn.
And here comes Goblin Guide, knocks Caleb down to 11. I can't see what it revealed, but it did not reveal a land, or he would have drawn it. So there we go.
The Lightning Skelemental.
Okay. So double Skelementals here for Caleb. He's got to deal himself so much damage to play these, but he is at least actually going to catch a card with it. For the first time in this match, is able to make her discard with the Skelemental. So Eidolon hits the bin. No cards in hand for MTG Nerd Girl, but she has Caleb down to 5 with this Goblin Guide cracking on in here.
And she gets to play a game where she's just casting the top of her deck or playing it if it's a land. So she's dealing 2 damage, which means her Skewer is alive. Now that she's played a land, she doesn't need the Goblin Guide to connect to turn them on because she's hit that 3rd land drop.
Right.
Caleb's passing turn. He's chosen to take a more reactive line because he knows he's not going to get value out of this.
Look at that. Refusing to give Caleb the value with the Goblin Guide attack there. I like it. Of course, he actually was nice for him there. He drew the Fatal Push instead. So he was able to push it, retains the ability to go upstairs with the Lightning Bolt. And now look at that. We've got the Cavernous Souls that allow him to cast Elemental, and Unearth is the draw. So Caleb, with the ability to actually push through this last 11 points of damage here, depending on what MTG Nerd Girl has in her hand as her final card.
Yeah. So I think if I'm...
Oh, he looks...
I was going to say, I think if I'm Brittany and I've got a burn face and just kind of like living with it, right?
Well, this is it right here, because Caleb could have it. Oh, wow. All right, Swift Spear down to 1. Caleb draws a Ball Lightning, but she's at 6 thanks to that Lightning Helix, which means he has to go for a different line here.
No, she's dead. He unearths a Skelemental and bolts her face, so he doesn't have to hardcast it.
Oh, you're right. That's right. That does it. There you go. He doesn't need to cast any of it. He's just got it. Lightning Bolt down to 5. Ball Lightning down to 0. Caleb D takes it down, evening things up right there. That was an awesome match.
Yeah. Yeah, if you'd asked me what I thought it would be like, I would not have anything like this. So this was really fun to watch and definitely a lot of fun to commentate.
Wow, that was
right?
incredible. At the literal one life in game 3, it doesn't get any closer than that, folks. Brew Crew evens it up at 1 match apiece.
Yeah,
wow, that was a treat.
Yes, it was. So my line going into today was knowing that I would lose match 4. So match 4, I believe, is myself, and I'm against Saffron Olive, and I'm playing against something called Hammer Time. And I'm reading through this deck list, and I'm like, I don't think I can beat this. So,
Well, it's got some big hammers in it. I will tell you that. It's the largest, I believe.
2 very large hammers that I would like to avoid.
This is the what we go through every time we play a Super League as a Brew Crew. It's like we have to try to balance fun with, well, it's no fun if we just lose 3-0, 4-0, and then no one gets to see us play, right?
Yeah.
So but this one was different. Saf came to us and said, this Hammer Time deck is actually kind of good. And I mean, I said, heck, go for it. And then he was like, well, I here's a card I could play that sometimes it comes up, but it might not, and it might just not be worth it. And I was like, all right, here's the thing. I want you to take the percentage points that you think you lose from playing this card and stop caring about them. Because you get 1,000,000 percentage points if you get to pull off a cool play. Having fun, much more important than having the perfect 75. So that's sort of the approach we take, which is, hey, is Unexpected Emrakul a better Scape Shift deck than a typical Scape Shift deck? I mean, maybe not, but it has unexpected results in it.
It does.
All right. So next up, we're gonna have Pleasant Kenobi taking on April King. It's going to be Neoform versus Skelementals again, swapping it around this time. Yeah. So, Jess, thank you for doing commentary with this round. It was a lot of fun, and we will be back with round 3 of the Team Modern Super League.
Anytime.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Hello and welcome back. I'm joined now by Caleb Durward. How you doing, Caleb?
Doing great.
I would think so after that match. Do you have any fingernails left, though? That's the question.
I think they're all lost in the edges of my seat. They're just gone. Yeah, no.
That was so close. And it was really well played, I thought, from both sides also.
Oh yeah. I've played that. I think that's the 4th time I've played that matchup from the Skelemental side, and I usually win. It usually feels close. There's usually a little bit of butt clenching along the way as you're just like, I hope they don't, I think of my burn opponents, MTG Nerd Girl probably played it the best. Usually people are just like trying to get all the burn out of their hand as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
But it seemed like she took on more of a controlling role. She's like, I'm gonna hold up Searing Blaze, and if he tries to ball lightning me, he's gonna regret it. And so then I had to like, okay, well now I can't ball lightning until I get a discard spell, and it added another layer to the whole dynamic. I don't know, it was fun.
Yeah, I mean, the first game, she managed to just never get hit by Skelemental. You had like Skelemental and Thunderkin and an Unearth, and somehow none of them ever managed to connect with her.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
And then a lot of collective brutalities in those post-sideboarded games.
Sure.
That seemed good for your side.
In that game one, I actually like... I was thinking about whether or not I should leave a 1/1 back to block a haster, because that would like buy me another turn or whatever. But if I don't know, if I serve in, get her down to 7, that's enough for like Thunderkin plus Ball Lightning. Like 7's a relevant number when you have Ball Lightning in the graveyard and Thunderkin Awakeners in your deck and Unearths and stuff. So I was like, okay, well, I don't know. And then I died, so yeah. But yeah, a lot of stuff going on.
Yeah, it was a great match. It was fun to watch. Yeah, I mean, it's funny too. We didn't have Brittany's hand cam. It's also the same reason she's not doing commentary this round. You guys are stuck with me instead. Just glad she found a way to get to play this from her European tour post MC. But we had the fun thing of like we're all watching from your perspective, right? Not knowing did she draw a lightning bolt? What's going on? It was a sweet match.
Another dynamic, yeah,
definitely. And now things are tied up. What a piece! And your opponents here are using your tech against you. The Skelemental deck.
List. Yeah.
Is this your list? Did you get it from somebody else? I know the first time I saw it, it was in your hands.
I got it from a 5.0 list on Moto originally, and the original list did not have Thunderkin Awakeners. But some of my viewers were like, "Hey, have you tried this Thunderkin Awakener card, like build of the deck or whatever?" And I was like, sounds good. Play some Ball Lightnings.
all of a sudden, it's a 4 of. All of a sudden, you're playing Ball Lightnings in the deck.
Yeah, why not? Right. Anyway,
clearly a 2019 Magic card.
Yeah, right. I was picking up cards for this deck to play in Minneapolis that's coming up, and I was like ordering Ball Lightnings online. I'm like, what am I? Am I 12 again? What is this? And it brought me some inner child joy.
I'm sure. Did you get the betas though?
I didn't get the betas. No.
I'm sure they're insane. Yes.
I didn't dig that deep.
Still, a lot of people using that card in old school formats have a little more of a prized collectible than perhaps it used to be. I think I have like 4 and 4th edition ones. I played like 4 and 4th edition sealed decks to be like Japanese 4th edition, Chinese 4th edition, or a bunch of tournaments.
Does that mean that there's summer Ball Lightnings out there somewhere?
Sure. Yeah, no, it was all the way up through 4th. I definitely have. I forget if mine are Japanese or Chinese or whatever, but I mean, I come by them honest, right? I was literally opened them in sealed deck tournaments in like Columbus, Ohio, in 1997 or something.
The most honest.
Oh
my!
All right, our match is up. Let us see how the Skelementals fare in the hands of April King this time. Now, her version does not have the Ball Lightnings. She's got the Thunderkins, but she's got the flashback guy, right?
A 1 of Hellspark Elemental, yeah.
Yeah, Hellspark Elemental to try to get another extra elemental that can come back. But the real action is going to be on Kenobi's side of this. This is Neoform. Always hard to figure out what this hand does. He's got the Neoform. I couldn't quite.
It's
gone. He only had 1 land, and I guess.
I think you keep that on the draw with 1 land. The thing about Neoform when you're mulliganing is you want 1 piece of each part of the combo, because your deck doesn't do very much if you don't have 1 part of each. So there's 8 of each, right? You've got 4 Neoforms, 4 Eldritch Evolutions, and then you have the 4 Allosaurus Riders and 4 Summoner's Pact to go get Allosaurus Riders. So I think our Pleasant Kenobi is mulliganing a little aggressively here, because that is the.
Yeah, he kept 1 land, and his hand's getting worse. Then he mulliganed a second 1 land draw. Now he's down to a 0 land, 5 card keep. And keeping 5 in this is super sketchy because you basically have to exile 2 cards to get Allosaurus Rider into play. So,
right. You can technically win turn 1 on a mold of 4, but it's unlikely.
Really?
Yeah. The reveal mana dork can also pitch to Allosaurus Rider, so it can actually be like 2 cards in the combo.
It has to be Chancellor of the Tangle. That makes sense.
To be Chancellor of the Tangle, yeah. It's one of the reasons I think the deck is like actually kind of good, is because Chancellor of the Tangle is like weirdly strong as like a double card in the deck. But
sure, anyway, it is both a turn 1 mana and a card to pitch to Allosaurus Rider, so that makes sense. I don't love his chances with a 4-card hand though. I'm not gonna lie.
No, against the discard deck, you probably want to keep more hands than average if your opponent is likely to Inquisition you on the play.
I mean, if we're gonna be results oriented about this, he definitely should have kept the 7. I don't know if that makes it wrong, but your theory makes sense to me. He did have everything except the 2nd mana. Inquisition is going to steal, presumably, his Neoform. I guess you can take Summoner's Pact, right? Because it's a 0.
I would probably, well...
I mean, Noxious Revival can get back whatever, but... Yeah, she goes for the Neoform.
Imagine the second piece of discard is also going to go towards Neoform.
Makes sense.
If they only had one piece of discard, then I think taking Pact would be better.
Arcanist here to flash back the Inquisition. This he's not going to have much of a landline. Will he cast a spell this game? That seems like the real question.
He could cast the Allosaurus Rider. It's right there. It's free.
And yet, no is the answer.
Well, he knows that the 2 discard spells are going to get flashed back there. So
yep, he sees the Thoughtseize. He knows the Arcanist is going to flash back the Inquisition. He knows he's got basically nothing.
Exactly.
He could have gone out on his own terms by casting Summoner's Pact.
No, I have not played with Leylines in this deck before. I'm a little hesitant when it comes to sideboard cards that aren't green because they don't pitch to Allosaurus Rider.
This is the match. Like, if they're in the sideboard, isn't this the matchup where you want them?
This is the matchup, yeah.
Like, somebody's got Inquisitions and Thoughtseizes. That's the whole point of the Line of Sanctity, I would think, is to turn off all those discard spells.
Mm-hmm.
I don't see them coming in, though. I mean, there's certainly other formats where they're in the sideboard to stop a combo deck from targeting you with its discards, with its kill spell, but that's not really what's going on in Modern.
Yeah, very, very niche when that happens in Modern, right?
Yeah.
It's like Grape Shots or Lightning Storms, right?
Lightning Storm. That was the one I was thinking of.
And usually the Lightning Storm decks also have a Lab Man, so it's not even good there.
Yeah, that is the kill he's got as well, so... Right, we've seen this version. We've seen versions of the Neoform deck which are Lightning Storm kill. His is a Lab Man kill.
Mm-hmm. I think Lab Man's a lot better.
Makes sense. Keeps looking at those ley lines.
There's games where you actually have to like run out some number of lands and your opponent gains life.
You're right, sure.
This isn't Ad Nauseam, which gets to play like closer to 20 lands or whatever.
All right, April King up a game, and let's see if Kenobi can pull off his Neoform combo this time.
This is a mulligan.
Yeah,
He only has one half of the combo, and that's the Summoner's Pact for Allosaurus Rider, and he does not have green cards to pitch to Allosaurus Rider and Grizzlebrands in the opener, which means that you have like another way of like just stone losing the game, because if you draw the other Grizzlebrand, then you can't combo because you don't have anything to pull out of your deck.
Right.
One reason I really like Labman as the win condition in this deck is I think it reduces the fizzle rate, because you can Eldritch Evolution for Labman if it's within like the last like 5 or so cards of your library. You don't have to like dick around setting things up perfectly, so you draw your whole deck exactly. To find the win condition, you can just tutor it out of your deck at a certain point by sacrificing another Allosaurus Rider. So Veil of Summer seems awesome.
Tell me about Veil of Summer.
Well, I think we're going to see Veil of Summer. I think we're going to see this happening right now.
Does this give him hexproof?
Yeah.
So he has both Veil of Summer and Leyline of Sanctity? But he only brought in the Veils of Summer. Weird.
Well, Veil of Summer is a lot better, right? And he got to draw a card there.
He did. So, it looked great right there.
A Leyline would just be one card, and then it would be trading with this one discard spell. Veil of Summer cantripped. That was a 1-mana cryptic command. And it's a green card that pitches to Allosaurus Rider. It's incredible.
I'm on board with this Veil of Summer plan. But now why are the Leylines in his board?
I don't know. I might have, I don't know. It's possible that that my ranting about how good Veil of Summer was made him not want to bring, because we had some conversations. Conversations before we went live today.
Fair enough.
Mm.
All right. Arcanist is ready to flash back in Inquisition.
A second land does it here, right?
How about a Veil of Summer?
Veil of Summer buys him another turn, that's for sure.
It's not nothing.
And better. And cantrips too. But a mana or a Simian Spirit Guide, and it's off to the races.
That hand looks... I believe you. I mean, I see it, but that hand just looks like it's full of a random motley assortment of cards that don't do anything.
Yeah. But yeah,
All
Summer's Pact, find the Allosaurus Rider, Neoform, find Grizzlebrand.
Veil of Summer does counter this. Oh, he got the random gain life card.
Yeah, I was playing that for a little bit. I eventually just added a third Autochthon Worm. Because pitching that to Nourishing Shoal is so much better than pitching any of the other big green idiots.
Sure.
So I was getting more life that way. I feel like I'm monopolizing the discussion by ranting about Neoform. I kind of really enjoy this deck in like a perverse, like this is not Magic at all sort of way.
You go. You're doing great. I enjoy the Children of Corliss in the random life gain spot. I mean, it doesn't really work with the mana the way this one is set up, but like in Legacy, I played Tin Fins a little bit.
Oh yeah.
So Children of Corliss will give you life equal to the amount you've lost, so all those Grizzlebrand payments come back. Mm-hmm. Also, you get to play a card that says Sacrifice Children, so you got that going for you too. All right. Meanwhile, Kenobi cannot find the second mana. He's got everything he needs except for a second mana. Now here comes Liliana. Okay, runs that into a Spell Pierce. Still alive.
Fortunately, April does not have much pressure here, right?
Totally true. Thunderkin isn't going to bring anything back, and Dreadhorde has run out of discard spells. It's just a Faithless Looting. It gets which does she even want?
If there was a Skelemental this game would be over. But there was not.
Truth.
And so Kenobi is still drawing very live. Yeah, Tin Fins is a sweet deck. I actually got to hard cast an Emrakul live on SCG, like turn 1. and I think the commentators thought that I was showboating or something because they like cut away like right before I was going to hard cast an Emrakul, and I was like, I wanted to get that achievement.
Oh my god! Oh no!
On camera, yeah, right.
Right, because you can just loop through the deck and have it reshuffle and eventually like make mana every trip through the deck.
Infinite mana, infinite storm, all that.
Right.
Cabal Therapy myself, discard Emrakul, shuffle my library back in, pay 7 life, draw 7.
Another copy of Neoform. Still no second mana source. But yeah, he's taken 2. She did choose to use the Arcanist to flash back the...
Oh, here's some discard, though.
Oh, wow. The second Collective Brutality is going to be insane here, right?
Well, the first one's pretty insane. It takes the Summer's Pact, and then there's no Allosaurus Rider for the combo.
Good point. You're right. I was thinking that was a creature in my head somehow, but no. Some Collective Brutality can, in fact, take the only Allosaurus Rider.
Yep. Yeah, so the Neoform deck is like both a complicated deck and with like a lot of little things you can do to prevent fizzling while you're comboing and stuff, and a lot of like sequencing things. And it's also a very simple deck where you're just like putting a Grizzlebrand in play and going derp derp derp. Anyway, so it's
she took the Neoform. She's going to take both the Neoforms.
Both of them, yeah. Pact. Which leaves Eldritch Evolution. I actually think he has a higher chance of winning.
Yeah, I think she was supposed to take Summoner's Pact.
Because those Manamorphoses can cantrip, right? They can...
Yep.
Find mana.
Lightning Bolt drops into 11. Damage drops into 9.
And the life total is kind of an issue when it comes to another Neoform, great. the life total is kind of an issue when it comes to comboing, because you maybe only have to draw 7, or maybe you can't draw 7 now after she attacks him down to 7.
He falls to 7 now. Like, he puts Grizzlebrand into play, and then what? Blocks with it? Attacks with it?
Mm-hmm. I mean, Black-Red isn't super good at dealing with the 7/7 lifelink flyer. Usually you do get the extra turn and stuff. The issue is if he has to summon his Pact for the Allosaurus Rider, then he won't be able to pay the 4.
Right. All right, Unearth on Pyromancer does up the clock. A little.
Very slightly.
I
The gentle
mean,
breeze has become a slight wind.
look, she got him to 7. That upped the clock.
2 at a time.
What is the top of the deck? If Summoner's Pact for Allosaurus Rider is lethal, I don't like. Can Kenobi actually win from here? Do you think?
Summoner's Pact for Allosaurus Rider isn't lethal because he can't currently pay the life. He can
lethal to him.
Oh, you're
it's
saying
suicide
like, with paying the 7 life. Oh, casting Summoner's Pact. He could cast this life goes on at end of turn and gain 4, and save a mana there. And then you'll go up to 11, and then lose 1 from the land, and then be able to pay 7.
Okay.
He can also
that's what he has to do. He has to leave himself the ability to pay 7.
Yeah. That's what I do. The other thing is he could, if he hits a land, Manamorphose into natural Allosaurus Rider and combo that way and not have to use Summoner's Pact. And then he'll just have like a 7/7 flying lifelink.
Yeah, getting Grizzlebrand into play gives him a lot of equity in the game. All right.
There's a land. Can we combo? Are we going for it?
I mean, you're casting 2 Manamorphoses and seeing what happens, I'm pretty sure.
Oh, yeah. Oh, no, I would not cast Manamorphose here.
No?
I would just combo. Yeah, if you Manamorphose, you could like naturally draw into the Grizzlebrand and just die.
Oh, because there's one in the graveyard already.
There's one in the graveyard, yeah.
But this does mean you have to win now because you can't play for Summoner's Pact.
Absolutely.
And
that would be the benefit to destroy a couple.
Only get 1 draw 7 off the Grizzlebrand.
There's 4 shoals, right?
I don't see a shoal.
There aren't any in this hand. There's 4 in the deck, though.
Does Noxious Revival help? No. Is he just dead?
I
think he's just dead. He's already played a land for the turn.
I believe he is just
dead.
He
has no mana. He can like what? You can't Summoner's Pact for Simeon God. Yeah, no, he's just dead. That hand doesn't go anywhere.
All right, maybe you should have cast 1 Manamorphose.
So your reason to not cast him is you're afraid of drawing the Grizzlebrand?
Yeah, I think that's a pretty good reason. Cycling 1 is pretty free because you're drawing toward, you have like a slightly better chance of hitting Nourishing Shoal than you're drawing 8 cards towards it instead of 7.
Or Allosaurus Rider.
Right, or the natural Allosaurus Rider, like we were talking.
But the natural Allosaurus Rider means we're still playing, and he's got a Grizzlebrand in play.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's 4 Allosaurus Riders and 4 Nourishing Shoals. You've got 8 hits, and there's only 1 whammy.
Correct. Firing off both Manamorphose might not be a thing though, because you do need the 2 green cards to pitch to Allosaurus Rider, of course.
That's
fair. So the first Manamorphose is a brick.
If it doesn't hit a green card, then you have to
you
have to save the second one. Anyway, tricky deck. Glass cannon deck, a little on the fragile side. The game 1 was basically all about the mulligan decisions.
Mm-hmm. And most of the deck is the mulligan decisions. that is mostly what you're doing, and it's very hard.
Sometimes you're trying to top deck land.
Very tricky. Yeah.
All right. Well, that means the stream team has taken a 2-1 lead. You guys now put your faith into Seth's hands. Saffron Olive with the Hammer Time deck.
Oh yes,
this should be fun. It is Hammer Time.
I've never seen this deck in action. I've wanted to play it on stream, and it keeps on getting bumped. It's like, all right, next we'll but that's the end of the stream, and I mean to get to it next week and stuff. So I'm very excited. I'm super excited to see this deck kill people on turn 2. That's what I'm here for. This should be a delight.
I think that's what we're all here for. Team Modern Super League is just going to turn into an Against the Odds show. Don't go anywhere. Next round, you can't touch this.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Hello and welcome back. I am joined now by the victorious April King.
Hey everybody, how's it going?
I'm sure that match went exactly the way you were expecting it to go, right?
When I was drawing this up, I was like every week I've been submitting Skelementals, and I'm like, okay, just no Hogak, and then I was like, Neoform, great. Not only can I beat a deck, but I'm also playing a deck that can lose to itself. So luckily that worked out for me, and the true heroes, the people who play decks with just castable spells and real magic cards prevailed. So that was great.
Fair enough. The deck pretty much lost to itself both times? I don't know. I mean, you had plenty to do with it the first time.
Yeah, I mean,
the second game
before, and then the Inquisition was pretty much, that just ends the game. But
the 2 points a turn clock did not look like he was going to get there at first. He basically had everything he needed except a second mana from the very beginning of game 2.
Yeah, those I will say that the Veils of Summer were like really good. I was really like I just got 2 for 1. Oh, I just got 2 for 1 again. Oh, this is very exciting. And I was like, what? When am I just gonna die? I got very lucky that a land was not drawn there for sure.
Yeah, you were gonna die as soon as he drew a land, but you got him to 7. And he's like, I'll gain some life, I'll get up above 7, I can Gristlebrand once. Nope, can't keep going.
Yeah, that was my real concern, because I was like, okay, I'm going to assume that, since I'm just dirtling around and pinging for 1 a turn, that eventually there's going to be a Grizzlebrand facing across from me. And I need to make sure that Grizzlebrand cannot draw more than once. If it can draw more than once, then I'm almost assuredly dead. But if I can get it to the point where Kenobi can draw more than once, I can be like, okay, well, now I just need to draw a Bolt. Like, if I draw a Bolt there, he's dead. And like with the Arcanist, like that flashes back to a lot of damage without even Grizzlebrand getting a chance to block. So I was just so hopeful. So hopeful.
All right. Well, enough of Neoform. Let's go find out if it's hammer time.
Yeah. So I've heard this name, and I actually have no idea what's going on here. So this is very exciting.
I'm excited. All right. So there is the hammer. It's kind of a 3-card combo, but all the parts have redundancy. So see that Glistener Elf? It's got Infect, right?
It does.
If you give it +10/+10, that's lethal. Similarly, if you give it Double Striker +10/+10, also lethal. So he's got 2/3 of the combo here. What he does not have is the ability to equip the hammer for free, right? Because the hammer's stupid expensive, of course, it giving +10/+10 and all. But there's 2 different ways that you can cheat the hammer into play. There's Sigarda's Aid, which lets you cast it as if it had flash and equip it for free. It's the
that's really
cost.
Nice.
Right. It's the equip cost that's expensive. It's a 1 mana equipment, but it costs 8 to equip. So either Sigarda's Aid or Onslaught Draft Reject Magnetic Theft. Attach target equipment to target creature.
That's pretty nice. I only remember ever using that to attach somebody else's equipment. This is pretty sweet.
Look, I was on the development team for that set, and I forgot this card even existed. I have no memories of it whatsoever until I don't think I've seen it
in a decade, probably a decade.
I
remember.
remembered Steel Shaper's Gift. That's the other Mirrodin special we got going on here.
That one still sees some play occasionally.
Right. Magnetic Theft. I said Onslaught. I meant Mirrodin. Steel Shaper's Gift. I remember Steel Shaper's Gift because we knew we had messed up Darksteel when Brian Schneider, by the time we were working on Judgment, was casting Steel Shaper's Gift to go get Skull Clamps. We're like, oh, it's too late to change the Skull Clamp card, isn't it? Oh, that's not good.
Yeah, and I don't think any number of Axiom tutors or anything was gonna save you there. Once Skull Clamp was on paper, it was done for. All right. So what do we got here?
Meanwhile, Public Enemy number 1, the Hogak deck in Jessica's hands. She's got a turn 1 Carrion Feeder off a mulligan down to 5. Seth kept this draw. I think he's relying on Faithless Looting. Like, his initial top deck didn't give him the 3rd combo piece. So, no, he's going to trust the top of his deck. He's going to lead with Glistener Elf, which gives him the chance at a turn 2 kill if he draws the right card.
Now, notably, I feel like, one of the things that when I look at Hammer Time, I think about there's just not that many ways to, push through damage, right? You've got...
Her creatures can't block. Come on, haven't you seen these cards?
Carrion feeder can't block, but all these other
Bloodghast
creatures
can't block.
They're 1/1s. That's all you need. That's all the power and toughness you need to block a Glisten Ralph.
What if he plays a second creature and then attacks with 2 creatures? His combo works at instant speed.
That is true. But isn't doesn't magnetic theft is instant speed, but he still has to have the hammer in play.
Yes, he has to have the hammer in play for magnetic theft, but it means that that every creature's lethal. She has to block them all, so she suddenly needs multiple blockers. Is my point.
Well, luckily she's got a few bodies in her hand, and it wouldn't surprise me to see her leave some of them back.
I mean, Satyr Wayfinder is certainly relevant here. Insolent Neonate, also very capable of blocking. Interesting. She goes for the Neonate over the Wayfinder. It surprises me a little bit, but
yeah, I feel like that would have been a more. I'm surprised because I agree that it's a more mana efficient way to play out her hand here, especially because she's going to be needing to land for the following turn.
Yeah, that was my theory.
So I wonder how Seth came up with Seth. By the way, for all of you who are watching, is better known as Saffron Olive. I'm sure we already covered this earlier in the stream, but I just sometimes I just wonder how these decks come. They just percolate down through his brain.
So he said in the pregame that this was initially for his budget video series.
Really? And
yeah, it was like crazy budget deck, and it's good enough that like the fully powered version of it looks real.
Wow.
Especially, and right now in Modern, again, I'm basically repeating what Seth told me during the pregame show. Modern, there aren't people playing a lot of Path to Exiles or Fatal Pushes. It's mostly about people trying to goldfish each other in a couple of turns. So, if they're not going to kill his creatures, he can goldfish pretty effectively, and all of his combo parts are redundant. It's like a 3-card combo, but you get to play 8 of each part.
Sure, that makes a lot of sense. I feel like, is this a deck that you think would be well matched against a more interactive deck like Skelementals, where we've got Fatal Pushes and Bolts and Inquisitions?
The thing that he's bad against is people who can kill his creatures for 1 mana.
Okay, I guess that's that's not a whole lot different than Infect as well, which similarly has problems with ways to remove creatures.
Meanwhile, oh by the way, Hogak bringing back Vengevine.
Pretty classic Hogak. I wonder if she's going to keep both of them back here.
Do you attack with Vengevine or do you need it on defense? That is a hilarious question. And right? I think the answer is you need it on defense.
I think you need it on defense. Like, she can always attack next turn with Hogak and the Carrion Feeder and maybe the Vengevine, but like this turn, she just needs to not die.
I think this is smartly played by Jess.
Yeah, I think so too. Normally you just don't think of, the Hogak deck is just all about just putting a ton of power into playing killing so quickly. So it's actually a little weird to see it on the defense.
Faceless Looting found nothing but another Faceless Looting. So he's still, again, got the hammer in hand, but does not have the ability to equip it for free.
This is what he gets for not playing Faithless Looting in a Hogak deck. You take it out of its natural element, and it just doesn't perform the same. It needs to be putting huge creatures in the bin. Or dredge creatures, or
Look, Saffron Olive is going to have the bigger creatures. That's his plan.
It's I think when I signed up to do this thing, I don't think I'd ever thought I was going to be saying that. Boy, Hogak, Hogak's it's fine. It's an 8/8, but is it big enough? I don't.
Look, the Swiftblade even has vigilance. He puts a hammer on the Swiftblade. 11/11 vigilance, double strike, trample. What are you going to do?
It's actually like really good here, right? I mean, it would give Jess almost no good attacks in.
Yeah.
And she would have almost no good blocks.
Right. Well, the tricky thing for Seth is his decision right now, I think, is whether to cast the other Faceless Looting or whether to cast a second Swiftblade. Like, he can potentially threaten 3 lethal attackers next turn if he draws the combo bit. So I think that's what he's sort of in the tank on this first Faithless Looting, but that's the fork in the road, right? He still gets a land drop. Is his play hammer plus second Faithless Looting, or is his play a third creature?
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a whole lot of experience with this deck other than, watching it before you. But I can't help but feel like, if he can just suit up any Swiftblade Vindicator with the hammer, that he's probably in good shape, right? I mean, like, if it just gets it on there at all, she's attacking for 6 damage, maybe 5 damage. Not a whole lot is going to be coming in. Whereas, him just playing out another 1/1 doesn't get a whole lot when she's attacking with 8/8s. I feel like he just needs to get a hammer equipped as soon as possible. Oh, are you there? Do we lose Randy? I thought for a second, I was like, oh, finally, Randy's agreeing with me. I finally done it. I finally, I finally said something that makes sense. And here we are. I look down, and he's frozen solid. Well, all right. Meanwhile, it does look like Seth is in fact going for that play. He's trying to dig for a way to put the hammer on his 1/1 double strike. Meanwhile, Randy is still absolutely dumbfounded at my insight, which is, I feel really good. This is only my third week commentating, but I think I've really upped my game to just stun a longtime commentator like himself. All right, so now we're gonna get to see what Jess is up to. Now she still has plenty of chump blocker, so I won't be surprised to see her get in with Hogak, even though it's a little bit cold to a huge double striking thing. But I think she's still got enough toughness back on defense to avoid a lethal attack. So,
am I back?
You're
Hello.
back. Yeah. Welcome back.
Your insights were amazing while I was gone.
Were they?
I could hear them all. I promise I wasn't disagreeing with any of them.
Anyways, well, that was fun. So,
I mean, Seth did have this tricky line where his mana all hurts him. Jess has the ability to attack for 14 this turn in theory. So he's had this juggling thing of, does he want to crack a fetch land? Does he want to play a shock land? Does he want to stay at 15? It's a pretty tight spot for him of figuring out the best way to buy this turn to not die on the spot.
Yeah, for sure. I just, at this point, I'm trying to think of what are his lines to get out of this here. I mean, I guess getting a hammer on, the Vigilance Double Striker is actually still pretty good here. But other than that, I don't see how he avoids not, straight up being dead.
The only thing his deck does is declare that it's hammer time.
Yep.
Hammer does pretty much say stop.
It does say stop, especially on a Vigilance Double Striker. So now I think let's say, so this trades off here, or doesn't trade off, but the Glistener Elf dies, and he's able to suit up the Swiftfoot Vindicator. He could only do, that will be, it gives 10-10, 10-10. So I guess that's 22 damage, 23 damage coming in. And Jess can only absorb 4 of it, so that would be lethal, right? Unless I'm missing something.
Well, she gets to give the Hogak pseudo-vigilance. She sacrificed it to Carrion Feeder with the intention to bring it back. So she's going to wind up with Hogak on defense. It does block,
that's
right?
Really,
it's got a bunch of keywords on it that only matter every once in a while. Doesn't have the what Mike Turian would call the advantage of can't block.
Can't block, yeah. So this is like a really, really heads-up play by Jess here, because
she's playing great.
She's completely dead on the crackback if she doesn't have Hogak blocking. So
and Seth, once again, the top of his deck let him down. He's forced to flash back Faithless Looting, which is a long shot, and no, he never found the third part of the combo. He saw 20 plus cards.
He saw a lot of cards, yeah.
I don't know if he got to 20, but he saw a lot of cards. I kept the opener with 2/3 of the combo and just could not find the third part.
Yeah, we got really, really lucky there. I think, he was probably well over 90% to hit his combo, I think, with all of the cards that he saw for sure.
Yeah, I mean, he's drawing to 8 outs, and he drew 4 or 5 draw steps and 3 Faithless Lootings.
Mm-hmm.
10 cards.
So, yeah.
It's a lot of cards looking for an 8 of.
Whew. All right, so what are we going to be bringing in here? It looks like Jess is bringing in some engineered explosives and some fatal pushes. Just a whole bunch of ways to interact with what Seth is trying to do, which I think, it's a really tricky trade-off for the Hogak deck, just because, sure, having all this interaction is great, but it doesn't really do much if you're not killing your opponent. So just to really balance what she brings in against, being able to put Seth to 0.
Yeah, she could bring in shenanigans. She could bring in thought seizes. I didn't see exactly what she was doing, but You're right. The trick is how much of her main deck can she afford to dilute with sideboard cards?
Well, looks like she wasn't hurt too heavily here.
Got the explosives.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Wow, that's really nice.
All right. How much is it? What is Seth has Steel Shaper's Gift. He's basically got all of it. He's got Steel Shaper's Gift to go get a hammer. He's got 2 ways to put the hammer onto a creature for free. It's a 2-mana creature. He didn't draw one of the 8 1-drops, but wow. Turn 3 kill by my count, and he says it's not good enough. Was his mana more flawed than I noticed? He's mulliganed into a Rest in Peace draw.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that's pretty good, but I think, you know.
Oh, no red source. Chat says the mana wasn't quite there. That makes sense.
Oh, missed that. Okay.
Yeah, if that hand didn't have a red source, then it was not, in fact, it didn't go anywhere.
It was not, in fact, a turn 3 kill is what we're saying.
No, it was, well, I mean, he had 2/3 of the combo and he's relying on the top of his deck, but you saw how far that got him last game.
Right, and this time he doesn't have any Faithful Suitings to smooth it out. But he's got a good, he's got like a nice reactive hand here. And he gets a turn 1 Rest in Peace, right?
Turn 2.
Or no, turn 2.
Turn 2 on the play, which seems like it should be good enough, but maybe not. Hogak's kind of ridiculous, right?
I think it's pretty good. I mean, Hogak usually is like flooding the board on turn 2. It's
right.
I don't know if it has a lot of ways to do it on turn 1. But maybe we'll start seeing that. Maybe the next tech will be Simian Spirit Guide Hogak.
Now, Jess does have the ability to answer Rest in Peace with Engineered Explosives, but that means she's not answering the combo. Like, Engineered Explosives on 1 would be kind of insane.
Well, sure, but even on 2 is like pretty decent because, you know, she can deal with the Rest in Peace, but she can also kill a Swiftblade Vindicator with it.
Right. Depends which creature he draws. If he draws one of the 1-drops, then 1 kills everything. Kills the creature and the equipment and a Sigarda's Aid.
It's interesting. It'll be interesting to see if she plays the EE out here. I don't think she's going to.
I think, okay, yeah, she goes for the Neonate. You're right.
Yeah. And I think a lot of that is just down to knowing what a sideboard is and knowing what things that are really the biggest threats. Like the Swiftblade Vindicator is very, very hard for her deck to deal with. Whereas like the Infect creatures, you know, they're good, but they're easier to chump block without having trample.
Seth leads with Rest in Peace, which makes sense. I expect this will prompt the Engineered Explosives on 2 from Jessica. And now Seth will know not to play the second Rest in Peace or the Swiftblade.
Yep. You know, it's interesting. You know, it's possible that, you know, Jess does not play out the because, you know, Seth has no pressure here. So it's possible she just starts to play out some more creatures. She may just play out a Bloodghast or a Carrion Feeder and a Gravecrawler just to get some more power into play to start to end the game faster.
Interesting.
I mean, if she's just thinking that, you know, she can just keep nickel and diming Seth down all the way to 0 and not have to worry about without having with no creatures on board, she has nothing to worry about. So, but it does look like.
Wow, she goes for 1.
All right.
She's like, oh yeah, you know what? I see your Rest in Peace, and you know which one of those enchantments is scarier? Sigarda's Aid. That is the scary white enchantment in play, says the Hogak player.
I mean,
that's awesome.
It does also, I mean, one of the cards that she's worried about is the hammer, and that's
obviously.
One CMC. So like, you know, it's a fine way to do that. Plus, it lets her also get 2 power onto the board here. Unfortunately, her 2 power is not super good against a 1/1 double striker, which pretty nicely deals with everything that she's doing.
He doesn't. Steel Shaper's Gift is a sorcery, by the way. He's just like, nope, not interested in casting it. Don't want to turn this into a hammer.
Yep.
Don't want to dilute the number of hammers in my deck now that I have to slog through an Engineered Explosives.
And now, like, Jess is in kind of a really, really awkward spot. She's not casting Hogak anytime soon. She can't really attack because Seth's 1/1 is like, it's just too strong. It's just one runs on turn 3 are just too strong in modern day Magic.
I mean, constructed double strike's such a good constructed ability, right?
Hasn't it? It's been like a while since we've seen a creature with double strike actually feature in a real deck, right? I mean, I know that we've got I know that we've got, it does show up a lot in limited and occasionally in standard, but I can't think of an eternal format where I've seen double strike in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, every once in a while you'll see the 3-mana white weenies with protection from 2 different colors. There's a couple of those running around, right? But yeah, not a mechanic that has ever been. Yeah, Mirren Crusader being the one.
Yeah,
That's most common.
Yeah, that was a good card. I lost a lot to that card back in that standard format for sure.
Does Temur Battle Rage count as a constructed double strike card?
I guess you could count that, or there's an infect one that gives double strike. Assault Strobe, is that the one?
Sure.
I can't remember. Sure, whatever.
Bit of a deep cut, but we'll take it. We'll allow it. The secret forgotten mode of Boros Charm.
Yes, that's true. Oh my god, I don't know if I've seen that. I don't know if I've seen Boros Charm cast with double strike ever. I don't know if I've seen it ever.
Well, I've seen it, but not very often. There's a while people thought Warren Instigator was going to be good. The card never actually hit.
Yeah, that's kind of a shame. And I keep hoping to see it back because we keep seeing more and more pieces of the Goblin deck make it into
it's true.
Into Modern. They just keep slowly trickling out, but we still haven't seen the 2 best Goblins in Wasteland and Rishadan Port, so we're still a little ways from that deck being real. But
all right. And meanwhile, this game is insane. Seth, seeing her commit her 1 copy of Engineered Explosives as a 1, he's like, all right, well, here's my backup Rest in Peace. And you know what? I have a 1/1 double strike Vigilance creature. You can't deal with this.
Yeah, and I don't think Jess has any other ways to deal with Rest in Pieces at all. I don't think she brought in any Nature's Claims or anything.
I don't think so. The funny part too is he's got that Steel Shaper's Gift, but all 6 of his equipment are 1-drops. He has a random Basilisk Collar and he has a random Flare Husk, but he doesn't have a sword of anything. How good would Sword of Fire and Ice be here?
Yeah, it would pretty much end the game, right? It would be so he'd be attacking for 6, and then he'd do 4 + 4, so that'd be 14. Yeah, that'd be pretty decent. Seems all right.
But he does have double Rest in Peace, so maybe Swiftblade doesn't need any help.
I actually think that, I mean, it's possible that Jess is going to be able to cast Vengime, but now Seth just drew a Path to Exile to deal with that. So
yeah.
What are her outs? She's so far away from Hogak. She is what? I honestly don't know if she has any outs to dealing with a 1/1 double strike. It's a very weird game we're in right now.
All right. Well, the Engineered Explosives is gone now, so Steel Shaper's Gift can actually get value, and Seth is still sitting on it.
Ooh, a Fatal Push. Right, I forgot she brought that in.
Fatal Push.
She also brought in an Assassin's Trophy now that I think about it. So she does have ways to deal with the Rest in Peace, but I'm not sure she's going to. She might just be saving the Assassin's Trophy for if she ever draws one, for creatures and stuff. Wow.
That Fatal Push was huge.
That was so huge. What an amazing draw for her off the top.
Seth is looking at his Path to Exile going, I think bad things might happen at 4. All right. Faithless Looting to the rescue.
All right.
Core Duelist is in play. All right. 2/3 of the way to his combo now. He's got a Core Duelist, and he's got this gift that can go get the hammer.
Yeah, but he has no way to get it onto the Duelist yet.
Right.
And notably, with the Rest in Pieces, you won't have a chance to flash back Faithless Looting. So it's just pure card disadvantage here. It's not going to really help dig him any deeper. And right now, this is just a 1/1. It's just not that good.
Yeah, it's only got double strike if it's equipped.
Yep.
Lightning Axe, more removal.
Wow, that's so good. Now, it's interesting. I wonder if Jess is going to cast Lightning Axe to kill the 1/1. Because she is dead to...
Well, she can just sit on it, right? It's an instant?
Oh, yeah, you're right. It is an instant. That's true.
Meanwhile, Seth has to stop the random 2/1 beats.
Yep. And unfortunately for Jess...
can't afford to let that 2/1 stay alive.
Yep. And unfortunately for Jess, she doesn't have looks like she doesn't have a forest to fetch here. So
there's no forest on her list?
Yeah, I thought there was, but apparently I misremembered. So that's actually really, really big for Seth here because, like,
whoa, are we on board? Steel Shaper's Gift into Magnetic Thief. Yeah, he's going to go for it, and he is going to get destroyed by this Lightning Axe.
yeah.
But he's got everything.
I mean, I don't think he has many other choices, right? I mean,
no, he's totally supposed to go for it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it's more of a please hammer, don't hurt him situation than a stop hammer time. I don't know. I went to college in the 90s, so I can keep quoting
hopefully
Can't Touch This lyrics all night.
I also went to college in the 90s, and I guess my college years were a little more wild than yours because I honestly I can't remember a single thing from the 90s. Just except for how to beat some Nintendo games. That's about it. That's all I've got.
I like it. Jess puts the blocker in front to force this. And then kablam.
And then the
Lightning
blow.
Axe.
Wow.
She does lose her Vengevine. She does lose her Vengevine. That's not nothing.
Yep.
One
and
green
she only
mana
has
was going to turn the clock on dramatically, but
yep. And she only has 3 power on board. So Seth has a while, and if he draws like
make that 4
another
power.
Swiftblade Vindicator or anything, we could back to just staring at people for a while. But the Carrion Feeder is actually like really good here, actually, because it makes some of Seth's blocks really.
Oh, Sigarda's Aid! Now he's got the way to re-equip the hammer. He just needs to draw a creature.
Oh my gosh, this is
he's got 2 turns, maybe 1 turn.
2 turns, yeah. I think he's gonna go down to 6 here.
I don't think. I think he only has 1 turn because she can just swarm through it. It's not like there's lifelink involved.
Yeah.
And the other engineered explosives. Wow.
Wow. All right. So I assume she.
EE on 1 is a severe beating here.
Does she even play it out? I think
she goes for 2. She went for 2 to hit the rest in peace. That's a little surprising to me.
I actually find that surprising too because he doesn't have a way to cast the creatures at instant speed. So if she just waits and holds on to it and just waits to see what kind of creatures pop out, I think she's pretty safe.
Faith Shield, not going to get the job done. All right. Seth is on tap to take 4, and I don't think he can survive a swarm for 4, even if he draws another creature. Yeah. Man, this deck looks so sweet.
It looks really awesome, and it actually looks better. To be honest, I actually think it looks maybe even more consistent than the Neoform deck. Because when we've been watching this game here, and we're just like it's so close. Every game is like so close. Well, maybe not. Well, yeah, the first game was really close to summoning the combo, and this one he did, and she just got blown out a little bit. Just but which happens. But I mean, I feel like in a format where people are not really interacting, that the Hammer Time deck looks like a really good call, and certainly a very fun deck.
Looks fun. Was not good enough to get the job done here, though. And the stream team, your team is now up 3-1.
Yep. Yeah, we have a chance. I think I'm playing next round, so we can close it out. It's going to be a rematch, I believe, of 2 weeks ago, where I played Tron up against Hogak, which I honestly don't think is the best matchup for Tron.
It shouldn't be.
But I pulled it out that last time, so you know what? I'll just pull it out this time, and we'll be done.
And you'll be done, yeah.
Got my bed back there. I got my Snorlaxes. I'll just chill out, read a book. It's gonna be great. But I guess there's a remote possibility that I lose here. So I guess I shouldn't talk myself up too much, lest I get my comeuppance.
All right. Well, the stream team is up 3-1. 4 wins gets them a spot in the top 4. They would come back 2 weeks from tonight, play for spot in the finals. But Caleb, I think, is going to have something to say about this time. This time it'll be Hogak over on the Brew Crew side of things. Caleb trying to claw one back. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back.
See y'all soon.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Team Modern Super League. I'm Seth, and I'm joined by Jess. How's it going, Jess?
Hi, Seth. That's going well. How are you?
I was doing better until that brutal Hogak beat down there. No, I'm
Yeah.
doing good.
Yeah,
So
the double rest in peace. Wow.
yeah, it was an interesting match. And from my side, in game one, I was missing one of my combo pieces. I couldn't find a way to equip. I kept a hand that had two of my three pieces in Faithless Looting and just didn't get there. And then game two, I kept a hand that had double rest in peace and was just hoping that was enough. But Hogak is pretty resilient. Like apparently you can just play a bunch of one drops and beat down and get there sometimes.
Yeah, the 1-2 and the 2-1 beats are pretty good, apparently.
Uh, Good enough in that game. So yeah, and then you drew a couple of interactive spells. I was kind of hoping that maybe you wouldn't find your like engineered explosives and fatal pushes. So I actually assembled the combo, but that's one of the drawbacks of going all in on a small creature is there are a lot of things that can kill it. So
Yeah, they're fragile. I'll admit I wasn't really sure what to expect. I saw the deck list name this morning when deck lists were published, and I was like, what is hammer time? So I've been on a learning experience today with the deck. It looks really sweet, and I'm sorry you almost got the combo when I stopped you. It looks really good.
no, that's all right. That's expected when you play janky combo decks. So I gotta ask you, you were at the Mythic Championship this weekend. What do you think about this Hogak deck? Like, we saw it this round. It's coming up again next round. Like, after
Yeah.
playing 16 rounds of it or whatever this weekend, what do
Yeah.
you think about that deck in Modern?
So at the MC, I played 5 rounds of Modern at the MC, and then I played 15 rounds or 12 rounds at the GP, and I only played Hogak once
Wow.
in 17 rounds of Magic. And I thought that was outstanding considering the amount of people that had brought it. I think the deck is too good. Um, when I play it, I'm really just beating people down with 2-1s and really middling creatures. But when everyone else is playing it, it looks really broken. I don't think I want to see Faithless Looting banned. Both of the decks that I registered tonight are big Faithless Looting decks. But, Hogak can get the chop.
I think that's yeah. When people talk about Faithless Looting getting banned, I always feel bad because there are fair decks, like the Rakdos Skelemental deck, which is compared to a lot of decks in Modern, pretty fair. In various like Pyromancer decks, some Death Shadow decks that would also get really hurt by it. So you like, yes, you hit on some really degenerate decks, but then you also might be like taking away these kind of fair decks that are probably good for the like if people want to try to make a bunch of young pyromancer tokens and kill me on turn 8, like I kind of want them to be able to do that.
Yeah. I think a turn 8 kill is very reasonable in one. I agree. It'd suck to see all of these like really cool decks go um, because of Hogak. So
Yeah, well, all right, and it looks like we're ready for our match. So we have more Hogak, this time on our side of the table, going up against Tron. So let's get to our match.
I mean, we got to see Mono Green Tron take down a Mythic Championship recently, and I believe it also took down the accompanying Star City Games tournament that weekend.
Yeah, with
Um,
Hogak being all the rage, it was Tron that actually was taking down the win. So
so who's the real bad guy here? Is it the Urza's Tower or is it Hogak?
yeah, I think this weekend was the first time, maybe in my life, I was rooting for the Urza Tower deck. So
I think we're seeing Caleb take a Malta 6 here. The first hand did not look good. It was the Hogak, a couple of Vengevines, and 4 lands. This hand looks a little bit better. Um, you get to
yeah,
put some lightning axes on the bottom of your library because your open deck lists mean you know you're against Tron. Looking for some
yeah, the
sword
lightning
play.
axes aren't good, but Caleb can get rid of one of them. And then on the Tron side, looks like going down to 6 cards as well and keeping a hand that is incredibly powerful if Tron can be assembled with a couple of pieces to maybe find it in Ancient Stirrings and a Chromatic Sphere.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I love most about this keep is that if you hit Tron, you've got your insane payoff. You've got your turn 3 card, you've got your turn 4 again, but she's also got a Relic of Progenitus, which is essential in this matchup within game one, and probably how she's able to stabilize in this game without just getting run over.
Yeah, that's a nice sneaky upside of Tron. Is it's one of the decks that can kind of get away with playing main deck Relic of Progenitus pretty easily because it's worst case it's another cheap cantripping artifact. So
Yeah, and against Hogak, it's actually got text, so it's
yeah.
I'm pretty happy to see that there. Ugin, really sneaky, has 7 loyalty and can just come down and exile a Hogak if there's no carrion feeder in play. So I don't know. This is going to be an interesting game, and I think it really does depend on what we're seeing from April's Ancient Stirrings. I think even if she does find that second Tron piece, she's still far away from assembling Tron. But we know how Tron can be and how knocking the top of your library can be a super effective method.
Ooh, so Caleb, that was a really key draw there off the Insolent Neonate, hitting land number 2, which means all of a sudden Satyr Wayfinder is online, which also means a Hogak can come down, which also means this relic might just be too slow.
Yeah, turn 2 Relic was not quick enough.
I think Caleb has to not take a land here, as tempting as it may be, because he needs those cards in his graveyard. So he needs to fail to find with the Satyr Wayfinder, I believe.
Yeah, if he gets that Hogak into play, I think April literally needs to find a second Tron piece and a third Tron piece. And I don't think that's good enough because that's going to get her to 7 mana and not 8. And I don't think Khan's gonna do enough here. I think the math works out that with the with the carrion feeder, if that comes into play next turn with the grave crawler, Khan isn't quick enough if it comes down on the Hogak.
Yeah, I think you can kind of see the difference of play draw here. If that relic if April had been on the play and been able to just run out that relic, it would have done a nice job of slowing this down. But on the draw, even if April had played it instead of the Chromatic Sphere, I guess you're exiling 1 card, which in this case actually would have slowed down Hogak for a turn. But in general, it's a lot worse. But April does find the Tron piece, so I guess that's probably her best hit there. Like if there's any hope for April, it's assembling Tron.
Yeah, I think it really depends on whether she's going to get to see a turn 4. And I mean, if she doesn't see a turn 4, I think it's entirely or almost entirely irrelevant. She goes down to 7 here, 8. Okay, we're going to see a neonate and a carrion feeder.
So if April just top decks the missing Tron piece and can Karn, is that enough?
No, because Hogak gets sacked to the carrion feeder, and then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe?
Yeah, it looks like it's an Ancient Stirrings off the top anyway, which means Tron is going to be a bit too slow.
Yeah. Let's. I'm going to do some brainstorming here. I think if we sack the relic, we can draw the third Tron piece, and then I don't think we can do anything with that. I think we made Tron. We cannot play Tron. So.
Yeah, turn 4 Tron, not quite good enough there.
No, but like I said, I don't even think turn 3 Tron was going to be good enough.
Yeah, that's
amazing.
Kind of, I guess that kind of, yeah, shows how there was a time when I thought that Karn coming down on turn 3 was maybe the scariest thing that consistently happened in Modern. And the Hogak deck might be changing that. The Caleb start was just more impressive somehow, even if April had turn 3 Karn coming down.
Yeah, I mean, so I haven't specifically tested the Tron versus Hogak matchup very much, but going into this weekend, I would not have thought that Tron was favored. And I know a couple of the Tron players that played it at the MC were talking about how it was playable against Hogak. So I'm hoping that April finds the playable side of her deck going into game 2 and 3.
I think being on the play is probably going to be somewhat helpful. What about the sideboards, Jess? Is there much that April is getting in this matchup?
So April, because of the Khan the Great Creators, gets to play a wish board and gets to really be a little bit more fluid in what she brings in. There's only a couple of cards that are actual sideboard cards, and that's like the Thrag Tusks and the Thought-Knot Seers and the Nature's Claims. Everything else is tutorable with the Great Creator. However, I know that occasionally in the past when she has played this deck, she has brought in the relics or the Grafdigger's cages into the main, because getting them down on turn 4 with Khan tutoring them is too late. And that's when you want to use your wish board as a normal sideboard, is when turn 4 or turn 5 Tormod's Crypts and Grafdigger's cages aren't quick enough. And so you're like, all right, I need them on turn 1, I need them on turn 2, I'm going to put them in the main and gamble on drawing them.
As far as Caleb's side, looks like he's mostly heading towards more Assassin's Trophy, which makes sense. A good answer to Tron lands potentially, and can get rid of things once they're on the battlefield, and a couple of Thought Seizes as well. So a little more interaction for the early turns.
I like the balance that Caleb gets to keep post board. So I believe we both submitted Martin Mueller's excellent Hogak list. And finding a balance between having that kind of interaction with the Thought Seizers and the Assassin's Trophies and still having a functioning deck is a fine line. And by the looks of how he sideboarded, he looks to have done a pretty good job.
So April's hand looks pretty good here. We'll see. This is a pretty clear turn 3 Tron hand with both big finishers, a Karn and an Ugin in hand. So we'll see if the play draw difference is a big one here. If a turn 3 Karn is enough to slow down Hogak, and it looks like on Caleb's side, has a pretty reasonable start, although once again, kind of like game 1, needs a second land potentially to get to the Satyr Wayfinders and really start fueling the graveyard, or even to cast the Stitcher's Supplier.
Yeah, so I think he had a choice between getting like a Blood Crypt or a Stomping Ground or an Overgrown Tomb. I think I'm on the Blood Crypt squad, but Stomping Ground's going to be a little easier for him if he doesn't, since he's got less green sources. We see the Neonate sacked here and pitching a Hogak. Unfortunately, it does not help him find a land, and he's unable to cast the Stitcher's Supplier. Depending on how April decides to take this game, we're gonna see some amount of turn 3 Tron.
It's got to be tempting to just eat the land here, I would assume.
Yeah. I mean, we know that he was unable to do anything that turn with one land, and therefore the way that the story kind of plays out is that you take out his land, and therefore next turn he's almost guaranteed to not be able to do anything. But we're going to see a game 3.
Yeah, so far we've had 2 very lopsided games, I guess. Game 1, Caleb kind of ran away with it. Game 2, April ran away with it. So we'll see. So far, players have held serve, but it's going back to Caleb for game number 3, and that might be a big advantage.
I mean, you said it in between, in 25 seconds ago when we were talking about going into game 2 about how important the play was. And I think in that exact game that we just saw, the play was a little irrelevant just because of Caleb missing his second land drop and April having turn 3 Khan to take out the land. But I'm hoping we see a healthy version of these 2 decks in game 3 where it's fun and interactive and we have more than 20 seconds of commentary to go off of.
It would maybe take a miracle, but I'm hoping for that too. Tron and Hogak are not 2 decks that normally make me think of fun and interactive Magic, but you never know.
I just wanna see some Magic happen. We're seeing the Relic again in April's opener, but I don't know if I think this is a keep just because you have a Tron land into Sphere, Crackit, Scrying, and you can kind of go away from there. Caleb's hand is pretty good. He's going to have a turn 1 Faithless Looting, ditch 2 Bloodghasts, and get back 4 power on turn 2. He's got the Thoughtseize to interact, and eventually it's possible if we may see a Hogak.
Yeah, the Bloodghasts are pretty helpful at getting back the Hogak. It might take another turn, might not be enough cards in the graveyard with the Bloodghast coming back, but wow, Tron land drawn for April, one of the missing Tron lands. So it looks like turn 3 Tron, well, not necessarily, I guess. Okay. Yeah, I guess turn 3 Tron is looking like a reasonable possibility, but no payoff at the moment.
If Caleb draws a Stitcher's Supplier, he doesn't. We can see that now, but it would have been a pretty good draw for him here. That being said, he's going to get to cast a Thoughtseize. Should he wish to?
Yeah, and start doing some Carrion Feeder shenanigans, maybe sacking Bloodghast and getting them back to grow the Carrion Feeder.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty big carrion feeder.
I guess from April's side, I guess the good news is, like, what do you thought sees from that hand? The pieces are all sort of redundant, I guess, at this point to some extent. I guess you have ways to find your Tron pieces. Maybe you just take Ancient Stirrings because that can find a finisher along with a Tron piece.
I like taking Ancient Stirrings. Your Sylvan Scrying and your Chromatic Sphere are going to function very similarly, and likewise, your Scrying and your Stirrings are going to function similarly if you're hunting for a land. Stirrings is the only card here where you're looking 5 cards deep for a finisher, as you said, and that's currently what April's missing. She has the pieces, she has the interaction in the form of the relic, but she doesn't have anything to win the game with at this point. And Caleb's putting up a good fight. He's going to have quite an amount of damage coming into play next turn, and I think this game, if again we pull out the advantage bar, it's leaning in Caleb's favor, but I think April stands a fighting chance depending on how the next couple of draw steps go.
Yeah, April still has some sweepers in her deck, I would assume, at this point, to maybe buy a little bit of extra time.
So we're looking at 3 Oblivion Stone, but there's nothing like an All as Dust. If you count like Ulamog as and you've got Ugin the Spirit Dragon as well. But without this Ancient Stirrings, it's going to be a little hard pressed. It's also kind of interesting in that.
Caleb. Sorry, Caleb just thought seized himself there.
Yeah,
to get the cards in the graveyard.
I was like, what did he take from April's hand? Oh, he thought seized himself and he put a Hogak into play.
That's a fast clock.
Yeah, that is an incredibly fast clock. And what I was trying to say just a second ago was if April cracks the sphere here to Sylvan Scrying, she is more than likely relying on a top deck to do something next turn, because if she plays the forest, she doesn't have Tron.
Yeah, that is a very good point. And this was with a Relic of Progenitus. How good is the Relic? Like, from the Tron side, can April afford to like leave up a mana to activate it and try to prevent that, or is it just somehow too expensive, even at just 1 mana?
So it kind of works in an interesting way where Relic is sometimes really good because you get to take out their whole graveyard, but a lot of the time you're either going to be stuck holding up 1 mana for the entire game, or it's just not good enough because of the way that priority works with casting a Hogak, basically. And you've got the priority to cast a Hogak as long as you're not putting any triggers on the stack, and you can't activate Relic if you're April. You can still delve away your graveyard, and then the Relic's kind of sitting there doing nothing. And Caleb literally has nothing in his graveyard. Like, this Relic is a paperweight on this Magic Online front.
Yeah, Hogak kind of relicked for April in some sense.
And now Caleb can put an additional 2 count, or could have put an additional 2 counters because of the fetch land. Could have even just put 1.
So that's a Ugin the Ineffable.
Yeah.
That's not really enough, though, thanks to this Carrion Feeder. Even if it kills the Hogak, it's still lethal. Is there any... Karn could probably get Bridge, but is that... There's too many cards in hand, I think. Ugh.
There is way too many cards in hand. I don't think the...
Yeah.
All right, let's have a look. So we have a Walking Ballista, an Ensnaring Bridge, a Grafdigger's Cage, a Liquid Metal Coating, a Mycos Lattice, a Pithing Needle, a Witchbane Orb, and a Trinosphere. And of these, it's not looking great.
Yeah, not the most helpful Karn board at the moment. Is there anything April can do here? I think the green cards are kind of cut off, or else April doesn't have access to Tron.
Yeah.
But the colorless cards don't necessarily do it, at least as far as what I can see.
I'm just trying to think, because if we had 8 mana, there was something we could do. But I think what we're doing here is we're playing Tron and we're cracking Relic and drawing a card. Because the combination of things that we can do with Karn and Ugin, maybe I'm not seeing it. Again, I do not play very much Tron. But she can make Relic a 1/1. I don't really know. It can block the carrion feeder.
Yeah, it seems like there's maybe one too many threats. It seems like Gabriel could deal with the Hogak or the other threats, but combine them all together, and that's asking a lot, even for Karn the Great Creator.
Oh, no, I think I kind of like this, maybe.
So what are we thinking the target might be here?
I think she might have been on a bridge plan because again, like I went through her sideboard with you and there's not much that I can see. Yeah. So yeah, I think cracking the relic was the way to kind of like re-roll into something. But she was one card short of having the ensnaring bridge, sorry, be a relevant card. She had 5 cards in hand, which meant the carrion feeder could.
Yeah, I think maybe if you just crack the relic, the worm coil maybe would buy you a turn, and then maybe you can get empty-handed enough for Karn or something, but that's a really tough situation, and I'm not a Tron player either, so.
I don't actually think worm coil was good enough because you can sack whatever it blocks to the carrion feeder, and she's not gaining life at that point.
So maybe there's just, maybe there was just
Yeah.
no outs there.
There was maybe a walking ballista, but I don't think so. I think that was it was a close game. There was a chance that April could win, but we saw the power of Hogak yet again. And I think we're getting a round 6 now, which is.
It looks like Skelementals again
Yes.
versus Burn, actually.
Oh.
This is a rematch of one of the closest matches we've had all night. That was a really great match in round 2.
And I believe if the Brew crew wins this one, we get a game 7. Or match 7, sorry. So that's kind of exciting.
Yeah, and then we can look forward to Vince fizzling with Neoform.
I won't complain.
All right, we're going to take a quick break, and we will be right back with round number 6.
CoolStuffInc.com is your home for everything Magic the Gathering. Need singles for constructed or kitchen table play? Looking to pick up some sealed product or the latest in Magic accessories? We've got you covered with our extensive live inventory. With free shipping on orders of $100 or more, a 25% buy list bonus, and our ever-popular customer rewards program, CoolStuffInc.com is the place for all your Magic the Gathering needs.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to round 6 of the Team Modern Super League. I am joined here. I was told I'm hosting, so I have to introduce Caleb, right? Is it
You
Durwald?
get to introduce me. You get to
Durward?
introduce me.
I get to
You're
introduce
welcome.
you.
No, I kid. Yeah, Caleb Durward.
Hi. It's good to have you here.
Whatever you want to call me, it's not a big deal.
All right, I'll just call you Caleb. That seems good. That way I can't screw it up. So, anyways, that was a match for sure. Felt like
it was technically magic.
It was technically a match. It was like I felt it was very emblematic of Modern, where we both had a chance to win that match, and it came down to well, yeah, to who goes first. I think that we were both favored of whoever wins the die roll in that game or those matches. So
yeah, the way our draws were, yeah, because you had a relic game 1 and 3, right?
I did have a relic game 1 and 3, but it was just too slow on the draw, which is that's tough, but that's just magic.
Tough.
So I'm just glad. Honestly, I'm just glad that I lost with Tron because I've been kind of playing it on a dare with a friend of mine. And I was like, God, just no matter how I play this deck, no matter how I do this there, I'm going to lose either way. Either I'm going to win, and he's going to be like gloating and be like, see, told you Tron was great. All the smack talk you've been talking about Tron for 3 years or 4 years, it's just a lie. And then if I lose, then I lose. So like, it's terrible either way. So.
Yeah, that sounds like an awful bet. That is.
It's an awful. I'm really bad at betting. I'm really bad at this.
I'm gonna walk over this bed of nails, and I won't hurt myself.
So yeah, that was like one of your first times ever playing Hogak, wasn't it?
It was. I have some experience playing like Vengevine piles from before the deck got good.
Mm-hmm.
So I have like a little bit of like adjacent experience, and and I've played against it a lot. So I thought I'd be fine, but that was my first match.
Yeah, you played it really well. That I was like, okay. When I was just counting cards in my head, and I was like, I'm safe from Hogak here, until you had that Thoughtseize. Like that Thoughtseize was like, really, this is so good. I was like, no, he has just enough cards to get around my relic.
Yeah, the main tank on that turn, I was like, do I just decline one of the rebuy triggers on this Bloodghast? And I was like, wait a minute, I've got a sack outlet in play. I should probably bring it back and get the extra point of power, or chat will yell at me. I'll be all mad.
Yeah,
I'm could have had a 4/4 instead of a 3/3, you idiot.
I'm dreading. I'll tell you. You know, I often like go back and watch the Twitch replays after this, and I'm like, oh god, I'm gonna that third match, and I'm just thinking about all of my possible lines because I had Tron online there. I was like, I'm gonna miss a line, and like Chad is gonna be just like screaming and shouting, and I was just like, ugh. And you're like bouncing around 1/1 counters and playing Bloodghast, so I'm sure we're gonna see a lot of like, oh. Caleb, what a noob! He missed a plus. He could have had another +1/+1 counter there. What was he thinking?
Yeah.
All right, looks like we're about to head down to the match. So.
Oh, right. That's right. We get half.
Yeah, we get a rematch today. A rematch this round of MTG Nerd Girl playing Burn again, and Corbin Hustler on Rakdos Skelemental. So this will be exciting to see if. If MTG Nerd Girl can draw just a little bit luckier, just a little bit better top decks this time. Slightly better.
Like 1 point better, right?
Yeah. And again, I think we said that MTG Nerd Girl, for those who are watching, does not have a hand because she has lousy internet in her Italian hotel. That is why. So, all right. But looking at Corbin's hand, this looks like... I think this is a mulligan. What do you think here, Caleb?
This is already 6. Did you see it?
Oh, it's already 6. Oh my gosh, I did not.
I thought it was fine. It had a Faithless Looting. What more do you want, right?
I mean, I fixed a lot of hands with Faithless Looting. It's just like Brainstorm cards.
Like, yeah,
just like Brainstorm and Legacy. You keep a hand with Brainstorm, and you're like, oh, this is just going to draw 3 great cards. What could go wrong?
This hand is everything we want it to be. We'll just...
But yeah, looking at Corbin's hand, like this hand actually could really, really, really use a Faithless Looting. I think this hand is amazing if it draws one.
Oh yeah, because then you turn to the... Have you ever Inquisitioned yourself with this deck? Have you ever like Thoughtseized yourself to bin a Skelemental?
No, but
to get the turn 2.
Clearly, I should.
No, I've never done it, but it's like juicy, right? It'd be really juicy. And then the opponent sees the Thunderkin, they know it's coming.
Yeah, when I first played this deck a couple weeks ago, I was like, it feels really legit. Like as long as you're not playing against Hogak in particular, like I felt like
right, yeah,
felt like it has a lot of really busted ways to strip an opponent's hand down. But You know, Corbin drew a pretty good draw here with that Lightning Bolt.
Lightning Bolt was a 1-mana removal spell is probably exactly what he was hoping for.
I can't think of a better draw there. I mean, looting I guess would be good, but all right. 17 girl posting an Eidolon. And there Corbin does it again, pulls it off the top. I assume here, what do you think he's going to be fatal pushing? You know, at the latest possible opportunity to avoid taking damage.
Yeah. And like this way, Nerd Girl takes an extra 2 damage from having to play that haste creature pre-combat.
Yep, that's a smart play.
You're killing with ball lightning, so you might as well.
Yeah, being at 18 life is a pretty big difference from being at 20 when you're attacking with 6/1s.
Oh yeah. I see you've counted to 20 before.
I have counted 20. Today I was counting to 7, so I'm doubting my ability to count to 20 anymore. I've been counting to 7 so much.
So Corbin has some
wow.
leaving the Eidolon in play and killing the Goblin Guide instead.
I mean, he knows he's going to be dealing out at least 12 damage over the next turn. Again, I'm doing my counting thing. I have no idea how much life Nerd Girl will have left at the end, but woo, that was
super ballsy though, right?
That was pretty nice. And now if Nerd Girl can empty her hand, she's in like okay shape here, especially if she can deal 6 damage to Corbin here. She's still holding hands. She can't have lands. She would have played out a land, so she must have some kind of burn spell here. Could be a bolt. Actually, it's interesting. If she has like a bolt or a helix here, does she throw it at Corbin's face, or does she throw it at the Skelemental?
Looks like the Skelemental. Yeah, this is why I think I would have killed the Eidolon. No, he's at 8 instead of 12.
Yeah, and like it's been punishing Nerd Girl, but not nearly as badly as it's been punishing him.
Yeah, she's got 4 lightning helixes, and if she had already taken a ball lightning hit, then I think it might have made more sense. But there would have been like a much better chance of like locking her under her own Eidolon. But she was at like 18 at the time or something.
Is she dead here? No, not quite, right?
7 + 7 is 14.
Yeah. And that's really a big difference from 15, because if she was at 2, then she's locked under her Eidolon, and we face a really weird game after that point, don't we? Because if they're both at 2 and there's an Eidolon in play and she's facing down a pair of 1/2s, then can either one of them do anything? Did they just draw their whole deck? they might just draw their whole deck. No, wait, because Corbin could bin the Seasoned Pyromancer and bring it back for 5.
Yeah, so I mean, if Corbin has 4 more life there, the game goes on for another half a turn. It doesn't go on swimmingly or whatever. Or I guess it would have been 6 life, right? Because he cast 3 spells after that Eidolon.
Yep, correct. Yeah. Whew.
It was a ballsy play. I appreciated the balls. I would not have had the balls to do that. Especially since we've already seen MTG Nerd Girl take like a very like controlling role in the matchup.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's like
where she's like trying to kill ball lightnings.
Yeah, and I actually if I was in her position, I don't know if I don't play a lot of burn, but I don't know if I necessarily would have thought to take that same position, because it's just you're just thinking to yourself, well, they're hitting me with 6/1, so I just got to get them dead as quick as possible. But burn has actually been like a pretty decent control deck in this matchup, which is it's very weird.
There's a few matchups like that in Modern. Assuming the burn player wants to win. Are you familiar with the Pure Steel deck at all? The one that's like trying to turn 2 kill.
Is that the one that is like Cheerios, basically? Legacy Cheerios?
Yeah, a bunch of 0 mana equipment, and then and Pure Steels and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
I've actually played a lot of that deck, and when the burn player takes a pure control role and just like never taps mana for a creature ever, and just like holds up mana for the entire game for like paths and bolts and stuff, it's actually very hard for the Cheerios player to win.
Interesting. Yeah, I remember being. I don't know if I was one of the first people to play that deck, but I remember back in when oh, I forget what card. Oh, as Monastery Mentor got printed. I remember playing that deck with Monastery Mentor and making so many tokens that just casting a single spell made Moto take like 4 minutes to do an action before it could put all the triggers on the stack. It was
Cavern.
very fun.
Oh my.
Whew, that is rough.
Super
Wait,
rough.
that
I've
was a
had Cavern
mountain.
be important. I've had it resolve ball lightnings versus counter magic and stuff, but we lost
So
it there.
is Cavern in here just to help fix the mana, or is there like a real like this deck seems like it's actually pretty good against like a blue-white control deck. So what is the Cavern in here for?
Well, you're
Uh-oh. Did I lose another commentator? I've done it again. Once again, people, I have I have stunned another commentator into submission. My commentary is just too strong, people. It's just too strong. I'm never gonna make it back to any other super leagues, I think, at this rate. So, all right, well, let's just commentate on the match. All right, so Corbin has a pretty rough hand here. I think looking down at it in order to have a chance to dig out of this with all these 3-drops, his Faithless Looting really needs to hit the elemental guy that brings the elementals back and a land. I think that's what he's looking for. I can't remember its name. All right, well, he hit the land and another Faithless Looting. So this is actually pretty decent here. I almost think he just bins. Yeah. All right, so he's gonna bin one lightning, the ball lightning, and what thing it'll be. I wonder if he's gonna fire off another Faithless Looting here. If he's gonna wait to see. All right, he's gonna go for it right away. Or not. Yeah, I think if I was him in this position, I would be firing it off right away. Just in the interests of mana efficiency. You really want to be hitting one of the was it Thunderherd Shaman or whatever it is. It's just so good here for him in this position if that can stick. And he needs to really be efficient with his mana here. So Thunderkin Awakener. There we go. That's the one. See, you just look it up. I'm great. Right in the middle of a stream. All right. So Empty Junior Girl, her hand is she's clearly kind of I don't know. All right, so she does hit a second land here, so that's going to be interesting to see what she does here. She knows that Corbin is down to just 2 cards, and that really his biggest out is a Thunderkin Awakener. So it's possible that she just might be sticking around, waiting patiently, holding up Burn to deal with a 1/2 to keep him from being able to connect with his Skelemental. It looks like that's what she's doing. So I see Caleb is trying to rejoin the call. Wait. Do we have him?
I feel here.
I hear him. I don't know if anybody else. You're not on the stream yet, so I don't know if people can.
Wait. There I am. Hello.
Hey,
Hello, folks.
What a handsome fellow. That's a great beard you've got there. You would never make it in the multiverse, by the way. Nobody has facial hair in the multiverse. But all right.
It's because they want to get their throats cut. Caesar had his men shaved so that they couldn't be pulled up by the neck to have their throats slit in battle.
Is that really true? Did that really work?
I mean,
I always wonder about these things if they're true or not. Like pirates wearing the eye patch so they can go above and below deck. I don't know if that's true. If they just want to look intimidating. So
hey, that's just the reasoning Caesar gave. I mean, he might have.
I mean, he did have a pretty vulnerable neck. So
I don't know if you trust someone who a war general who's had a salad named after them.
All right, so Corbin is again being very conservative here, holding on to a Thunderkin Awakener. I'm guessing until he sees the Nerd Girl is tapped out, because I'm guessing that Nerd Girl, based on the way that she's behaving, has either a path, but more like a lightning bolt in her hand to deal with an instant speed or to deal with Awakener at an instant speed.
And he could have top decked Inquisition to force it through too.
Yeah, that's true. All right, so I guess we'll see if my suspicion is correct. Will we be seeing a bolt here? Yeah. All right. All right. Well, now Nerd Girl's in a really good position. She's got 3 cards in hand to Corbin's 1. Corbin's card may as well be blank. I mean, 6 damage is good, but when she's at 21, that's just not going to cut it.
Apparently, I'm getting a correction from the chat. The Caesar salad is named after the Mexican chef who created it, and then I should feel shame.
Listen, I don't hold much with facts. I think that whatever you feel is correct. That's how I run my Twitter account. If it feels correct, it is correct. All right. Well, it looks like, man, I just really don't see many ways for Corbin to get out of this. I think he has to flashback looting, but man, even there, Nerd Girl still has 3 power in play. She still has 2 free draws with her Sunbaked Canyon. Like, she just needs to draw a burn spell or 2 in all of those cards, and I think she'll end the game. So, and I'm pretty sure. Do you think she draws a card here at the end of turn?
I think it's kind of sweet.
Yeah. All right, what do we get here? Well, to pick up an Unearth, which does getting back a Seasoned Pyromancer, which is a pretty good blocker.
That's super good blocker.
Yeah.
Drawing 2 is so good.
Drawing 2 is pretty decent. Well, that swung the game quite a bit here. I still think Nerd Girl's chances are pretty good, especially if she has. I mean, but well, all right. Wow, those were
cards.
Great couple of cards to draw. A piece of removal, and a way to recur that Skull Elemental. Wow, I really did not think that Corbin had a way out of this, but that Unearth was amazing. It was like it had to be the best possible draw in his deck for sure.
Yeah, chain him through. You've played this Skelemental deck in a few of these, right? Do you usually win with it? Do you crush?
I think I have won every game I've played with it. I don't think I've dropped a game.
Nice.
But to be fair, I've only been paired against decks that are vulnerable to discard. So as long as Randy keeps hooking me up with those decks, I think I'm going to be pretty set.
Rigged. Hashtag rigged.
Oh man, I'm never going to hear the end of this from Randy. I'm in so much trouble. All right. So what is Nerd Girl's like best draw here? Maybe I'm thinking maybe a land, like a land and a Searing Blaze.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the cards that are actually 2 cards are pretty much all that she wants to draw this entire matchup, I think. Searing Blazes, Searing Bloods, Lightning Helixes. If she could stack her deck and like play 1/1 drop and then have everything else be those, be pretty good, I think. Maybe Nylon.
And if she can find, let's say, if she can find a Searing Blaze here. Wait, did she play? She hasn't played a land yet. So she has a land into Searing Blaze. She does 3, and then Corbin is forced to chump block probably. Otherwise, he would go to 2. Which, even though that would be really great here. But I feel like if that was what her play was, that we would probably have already have seen it. We wouldn't be waiting here.
Yeah.
But God, what is she holding on to?
It could be a situation where, she's got like a Boros Charm, and she's considering whether she like crack this land and look for a bolt to attack in better, and who knows, right?
Mm-hmm.
Goblin Guide not serving is real interesting.
Huh. So that almost certainly means she has a burn spell to pump her Pyromancer. Or sorry, her Monastery Swift Spear. Yeah.
Maybe. Right. I might have made her have it. There's a double block there.
Yeah, I mean, but like the fact that she didn't attack with the guide is probably, telescoping that she has a way to do. Like
that's what she's telling the opponent, but that doesn't mean that what she's telling the opponent is accurate.
Wow. This is why I'm not a pro player. This is so many levels of mind games here. All right, and
because if she just has like a bolt or whatever, she can just kill the Pyromancer and serve with both, and that's like a fine attack.
Yeah, I suppose that's true.
And if she's using burn spells mid combat there, and like on the creature, like if she has to use a bolt on a Seasoned Pyromancer instead of Corbin's face, nothing wrong with that, right? And then there's one less bolt in her hand to stop this Thunderkin Awakener from rebuying something sweet. I don't know.
Yeah, but she's been so patient. Like I feel like she must have some instant speed burn here. But
right,
what
so
it is,
make her use it on her turn.
Yeah. Boy, I feel like this game all of a sudden is just like looking really, really close.
Yeah,
Does Corbin? Do you think Corbin just like uses his lightning bolt on Goblin Guy and just gets in?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I don't think it's that close because one of these players is at 20 and the other person's at 9. But we certainly still have a game here.
All right. Well, she doesn't have a way to remove. She let the Awakener get in, so she must not have a way to kill it. So I wonder if that means she does have something like a Boros charm.
Yeah, a Boros charm there. I mean, then she's trading the Swift Spear for the 2/2 as well.
Yeah.
It's like a great block, right? What's
All right,
happening
well,
here? Oh, is this Searing Blaze specifically?
Oh,
Searing Blaze to deal 1 damage to the Skelemental.
Oh wow!
She just doesn't have the land. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, that buys her a little more time. She gets to hold on to the burn spell she has in her hand. If she can just like empty her hand and just like do just a handful more damage at Corbin, I feel like she's in really good shape, even if she is going to be taking 7 per turn.
Yeah, I mean 7 per turn is still 3 turns, right?
Yep.
That's a lot. That's a lot of turns.
It's a lot of turns when you only have 8 life against a burn opponent who has a creature in play. All right, come on, nerd girl. What do we got here? So this actually almost makes me wonder if she does have. Oh, she does have a bolt. And she's going at his face instead of using the bolt on the Pyromancer. All right. Well, I guess though, I guess that makes sense in that like Corbin is kind of priced into blocking here, right? Because if she has a bolt, then he's just dead if he doesn't block.
Absolutely. I mean, you 100% block, but then I mean, you have just piles of blockers, right? Because now you can rebuy the Pyromancer if you really want to, if you really need to.
Sure. Clears the
seems
board.
like we really need to.
All right. Whew. Blackleaf Cliffs is not what Corbin needed to get out of this here. He's holding on to it, I assume, in case he draws a Faithless Looting. It doesn't really do much otherwise. Oh, he has a Faithless Looting. Interesting. I wonder why
he's got a block. He's making 1/1s.
Oh, yeah, you're right. Good call. That's fair. He's going for the double block to try to kill the Swift Spear.
Oofta.
Oh, is this a Lightning Helix at his face? Or a Boros Charm at his face?
A Collective Brutality off the top would actually be not that good.
No. Is there anything that's good at this point? I'm not
really.
Sure. Yeah.
It's gonna take a lot. Gonna take a lot of fortunate pulls here.
Yeah, it would need like a Collective Brutality into like a really good to probably Thunderkin Awakener into like her missing a few times. So
you tap this cavern, right? Tap this cavern, leave one of the dual lands up. Might have to like cast 2 unearths or something like that.
Yeah. I
think that's what Corbin's realizing.
Yeah, like I guess so if he Faithless Lootings into a pair of unearths, he can get back a Thunderkin Awakener and he has to get back like 2 Thunderkin Awakeners, right? 1 to block and 1 to swing in.
Yeah.
He's already got 1 unearth in the bin, so the odds of that happening, I think, are slightly in Burn's favor here.
You could also hit a 1 mana removal spell for the Swift Spear.
Plus yeah, that's true. But the fact that like, I mean,
wait, what?
Nerd Girl has a Sunbaked Canyon to redraw.
What?
Huh.
What's going on?
Does he have another Seasoned Pyromancer in the bin?
That we just don't see or something?
Yeah, it could be.
Yeah.
Looks like Nerd Girl's gonna crack. What's that?
I think you just gotta hope to get lucky at a certain point.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, there is another Seasoned Pyromancer in there, so. Nerd Girl has 2 cards. She drew a land, so which is not a burn spell. If she didn't draw a burn spell, I suspect she just doesn't attack here, right? But, yeah. She's gonna try to eat she's gonna eat a 1/1. I mean, to be fair, like she's still in a very good
Any
position.
any spell kills him. He should be double blocking.
Yeah,
Any
for
spell
sure.
kills
Oh
him.
yeah, he'll definitely be eating it, I think. Oh, he didn't.
Well,
Oh, that should do it.
seems like it doesn't really matter. Not
Yeah.
really a big deal there. We're kind of at the end of the old rope anyway.
All right. Well, this was a lovely, fun evening. It was
Yeah, I had a good time.
Yeah, I actually have to say that if you had asked me before tonight if Burn versus Skelementals was going to be like an interesting match to watch, I'd just be like, no, it's just going to be a race to zero. But actually, all of the games have been like actually pretty interesting to both talk about and to watch for sure.
Hyper interactive, yeah.
Yeah, I'm really hoping to see more of the Skelementals deck. Maybe if Hogak goes away and Modern slows down a little bit, I think it's actually fairly well positioned. I think against a lot of different decks.
Maybe you can do okay just by like preying on the decks that do well against Hogak, but it seems unlikely.
Yeah, I mean, it's a rough road to climb to bet on not running into the most popular deck in the format. But
sometimes that works though. There was a Moto tournament that Blue White Control won, and I think Blue White Control was listed as having like a 30 or 40% win rate against Hogak or something like that. But it just got to clean up all the decks that were not that specifically.
Nice. Wow.
If everyone's gunning for someone else, right? I don't know.
Well, hopefully I will pull that Blue White controlled trick and not face off against Hogak in a couple weeks with Skelementals. Yeah, just gotta get lucky. Anyways, next week we're gonna have Channel Fireball versus Mage Market. Yeah, thank you all for joining us. It's been a really lovely evening. And you all have a wonderful night.